Escaped killer Danilo Cavalcante on the run from the Chester County Prison for 12 days now.
I'd like to address a message to anyone who may have already offered assistance or is contemplating assisting Cavalcante in any way. We will prosecute you fully for those actions.
State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens says Cavalcante tried to arrange meetings with two acquaintances who weren't home at the time on doorbell camera, capturing his changed appearance over the weekend, clean-shaven and wearing a hoodie. Police think Cavalcante is still in Pennsylvania.
Because I have no reason to believe that he is not. I don't believe he has the resources to get out of Pennsylvania. And again, other pieces of information that we have generated within this investigation lead me to believe that he is still here.
Bivens says he still has friends and family in the area. His sister, who's also in the U.S. illegally, is being detained for deportation after failing to cooperate with investigators. On this day to remember and to honor those lost on 9/11, a wreath-laying ceremony has just been held in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, after the annual tribute in New York City wrapped up.
Vice President Kamala Harris, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and GOP presidential candidate Florida Governor Ron DeSantis joining victims' families at Ground Zero for a 9/11 memorial ceremony. Featuring mourners reading the names of the thousands killed during the attacks 22 years ago.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. First Lady Jill Biden will lay a wreath at the Pentagon this afternoon. President Biden will mark the day with service members in Alaska on his way back from an overseas trip. They're digging with bare hands in remote parts of Morocco, devastated by Friday's earthquake, already blamed now for nearly 2,700 deaths. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He says his plan is different. Mostly sunny, 81 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. All clear on your radar. Rain is possible tonight with your low dropping to about 63. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. Indy's Republican candidate for mayor says there's more to his crime-fighting plan than critics want to acknowledge.
I'm Ryan Hedrick. Jefferson Shreve says it starts with hiring a public safety officer.
I'm not a former cop. I'm not a former firefighter. I don't hold myself out as the expert there. I'm the executive.
He told WIBC's Tony Katz that he's got the managerial experience and that he wants the chance to put a team together that can get the city back on track. As far as the criticism goes, that his crime-fighting plan is the same as his challengers?
I'm listening.
I'm Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
On the west side this morning?
Yeah, just an unfortunate set of circumstances here. Chain of events that led to a fatal crash.
State Police Sergeant John Perrine says a vehicle on the westbound side of I-70 lost its rear driver's side tire. That tire bounced over the median and hit a small SUV, knocking it off the road and into a neighborhood where it hit a fence and several trees, and the driver was killed. A Hendricks County truck stop employee was arrested Saturday after police say he stabbed and killed a coworker during a fight. Police were first called to the truck stop off State Road 39 South near I-70. The victim was taken to a hospital but later died. Sebastian Jones was the man arrested. And across the U.S., people remember 22 years ago when nearly 3,000 people were killed and 19 terrorists hijacked planes and flew them into buildings.
I'm Ryan Hedrick, and that goes for Hoosiers, too. This weekend, Indiana State ROTC students climbed dozens of flights of stairs in honor of those who died on 9/11. And that is the sound of the North Tower collapsing. This morning, a man named James Clark was on the 465 overpass waving an American flag to honking motorists in New York City.
Sand.
The sound of loved ones reading the names of those who died on September 11th, 2001. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain above your eyes, below your eyes? Sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05, here's Matt Baer.
Hey, Harrison, what's up? Looking at the east side right now, northbound to 465. It's already stop and go from 70 up to Penn Pike because of the repaving project that has taken lanes from the interstate. We are reduced to 2 lanes on northbound 465 at Penn Pike. After that, everything opens up a little bit. Still work zone. The express lane still closed. Traffic sponsored by Comcast Business. Start saving with Comcast Business Mobile on the most reliable 5G network. Most reliable based on Root Metrics U.S. report results vary, not an endorsement. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for It's the Traffic Updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Clouds increase throughout the day today. This afternoon, we'll get up to about 82. Tonight, we'll see lows near 64 with rain developing during the overnight hours. I'm Wish TV storm tracking meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters
They're weirdos.
So let's rock it.
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there. You know, Hammer, this is always a sad, somber date on the American calendar, the anniversary of 9/11. And this is not something we're going to spend the whole hour on, but I do think it's appropriate to at least start the segment out with some remembrance and some reflection on the evil events that day and the horrific way that people lost, just under 3,000 people lost their lives.
And one of the perks of working here at 93 WIBC, like the dream gig for you and I, Nigel,
sure.
Radio nerds growing up in Indy, this powerful frequency is you get access to the archives. And let's go back to when WIBC's morning show at the time, which was Jeff Pigeon and Terry Stacy, they were just talking about the news of the day. Before the attacks happened, this was the big story on WIBC.
Good morning. It's 7:39 at WIBC. Vince Welch, of course, our sports director, with me here this morning. And Vince, we've been talking all morning long about Michael Jordan coming back after that 3-year retirement, that 3-year layoff. And he has been working out, for the last several months. And I guess the question is whether or not he should be coming back.
So Jordan was having another comeback.
Was that with the Wizards?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But that was the big story of the day. The biggest athlete on the planet doing another comeback. But then, just minutes later, this was how Jeff Pigeon broke the news.
All right, thank you very much. We're following a late-breaking story here, too, this morning. A plane has crashed into the World Trade Center tower in New York City. This is absolutely spectacular. We'll have the latest from ABC in just a matter of moments here at 1070 WIBC and from our news center, too, this morning. I'm telling you, folks, this is incredible. Plane that has crashed into the World Trade Center tower in New York City. Some of this film is absolutely dramatic, and I've never seen anything like this, and we're going to get the latest from ABC just a couple of seconds here. Again, this story just broke.
And Nigel got to thinking about this. If you grew up in central Indiana and you're maybe a little younger than we are, maybe your first exposure to WIBC was the coverage of 9/11.
Yeah, and I was on the air at X103 when it happened, and they went into syndicated coverage all day. Like they pumped into ABC, and then about 6 o'clock, I started playing music again. And I remember my boss was like, just, no frills radio tonight, no taking calls, being a jerk. This is a big deal. And when you talk about young people, there are people in the military right now, 18-year-old Marines that weren't even alive when this happened. It's crazy to think about that. So
I remember walking outside, Nige, and the thing that was bizarre to me was how quiet it was because no planes were in the sky. It was a national grounding of all aircraft.
No planes except Air Force One.
Right.
Yeah. And by the way, just a side note, I posted an article. I don't know how old it is. It might be a few years old, but it's basically a chilling and compelling account of the timeline for Air Force One specifically on 9/11 from the time George Bush learned about it in Florida when he was in that classroom to, they landed in Shreveport to refuel, and he videotaped a statement, and he was very adamant about wanting to go back to Washington. Bush was, but the Secret Service wouldn't let him right away.
And that's on our Twitter?
That's, at Hammer and Nigel, yeah.
This is coverage from NBC when the second plane hit the tower.
Taken out of the building. You say that emergency vehicles are there, understandably so, but of course the major concern is human loss. I mean, do you know if there were many people in the building?
Another one just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building, and there's been another collision. Can you see it? I can see it on this shot.
Oh my!
Something else has
You know
just.
what? We just saw a plane circling the building. It is in the other building. We just saw a plane circling the building.
I hate listening to that. I think it's important to remember, though, and it's important to never forget what happened on that. This was just an awful day. And by the way, when the first plane hit, nobody really knew it was a commercial aircraft. Even in that article that I posted, some of the people on Air Force One thought it was just a twin engine
sightseeing
prop plane or something
like that, right? Where there was just maybe some sort of isolated incident. When that second plane hit, everybody knew. Everybody knew. Coverage of CNN when the first tower fell.
And there, as you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord. There are no words. You can see large pieces of the building falling. You can see the smoke rising. You can see a portion of the side of the building now just being covered on the right side as I look at it, covered in smoke. This is just a horrific scene and a horrific moment.
Wow.
I mean, I still remember exactly the feelings that I had, what I was doing, where I was at. It was such a crazy day in my family that day, Nige, because unrelated to the attacks, we had a death in our family. My cousin had passed away that day, and something totally separate. So all of this is going on, in my family at once. Here's a little montage of some of the day's events.
This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
Oh my gosh, another plane has just hit. Oh, another one just hit.
Oh my God.
My God.
Just flew directly over my building.
Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
There's another one.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a difficult moment for America. Today, we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
Man, 22 years ago.
That's hard to believe.
On this date.
Yeah.
Now, also, this is the anniversary of the deadly Benghazi attack as well. I don't want to forget that because people lost their lives. In 2012, the Benghazi attack, which was coordinated against 2 United States government facilities by Islamic militants, 4 Americans died. The ambassador, Christopher Stevens, the information officer, Sean Smith, and 2 CIA ops, Glenn Doherty and Tyrone Woods, both former Navy SEALs. And if you remember the fallout to Benghazi, this is when Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State at this point and gearing up for presidential runs, plural, runs. This is how she responded when a senator wanted to find out why this took place.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
I don't know. Ask the victims' families. That's a good question for the victims' families, don't you? And let's not forget about crazy Benghazi lady Susan Rice, who was the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations at the time, lying to the world about the motivations behind that attack of Benghazi, saying it was some anti-Muslim movie that was made that was out on YouTube, and that was like an excuse for that. It's such a liar. So those two are despicable. And by the way, just back to 9/11 for a minute, like people that have made comparisons, comparing 9/11 to January 6th, There's been plenty of those comparisons over the past couple of years. Despicable. Absolutely despicable. I mean, take a look at the photos, Hammer. Take the photos of the guy running through the Capitol, holding the podium, the ski bro, waving
Smiling
hi to
at
the
the
camera,
camera.
and then it's put that alongside a photo of one of the Twin Towers collapsing.
Somebody jumping from the top of a tower burning because they can't handle the smoke and heat anymore. And for Kamala Harris and other folks to say January 6th is on par with that, you're absolutely right. Disgusting. All right, Matt Baer, what's going on?
Northbound of 465, stop and go traffic from 72 Penn Pike because of lane restrictions and paving. We are down to just 2 lanes in the area, so you may want to try out Shadeland Avenue instead. Those lane restrictions going on until the 25th of September. Traffic sponsored by Freegee and Freegee Auctioneers. Freegee and Freegee Auctioneers invite you to the annual Fall Big Boy Toy Auction on September 16th in Clayton. Bid your way live on site or online at buyfreegee.com. License AC31200002. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Again, we're not going to spend the entire show, talking about what happened 22 years ago. We got a lot of other stuff to talk about, and we're going to have some fun today, too, because that's what we do here on this program. But it's absolutely important to remember what took place in this country, not just in New York and Washington, D.C., and ultimately Shanksville, Pennsylvania, but don't forget about Benghazi as well. Right now, we've got sunshine, 81 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. What did you think about your Indianapolis Colts? Rookie quarterback, new head coach. We'll talk a little bit about that. And Matthew McConaughey was on a heater covering that Alabama and Texas game, talking to Pat McAfee on the air. I'm not sure if anybody saw this, but this was a vibe. We've got the audio next.
What if the next time you painted your home was the last time you painted your home?
Our home has had Rhino Shield for 10 years.
Rhino Shield. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
All Hoosier families want the best for their kids, but parents of children with autism face special challenges, and they're counting on Governor Eric Holcomb. Thousands of Indiana children with autism are enrolled in applied behavior analysis therapy centers. ABA centers provide a safe learning environment where parents know their children will be understood and taught lifelong skills. But the Holcomb administration has proposed deep Medicaid cuts that could force ABA centers to close. Kate is the mother of a son with autism.
As a single mom, caring for a son with autism can feel very overwhelming. Luckily, I got my son into an ABA center near our home. Since then, he's learned so many life skills to help keep him safe and give him a brighter and more independent future. It would crush our family if we were to lose this option. Governor Holcomb, you're our only hope. Please stop these devastating Medicaid cuts.
Governor Holcomb, listen to Hoosier families and ensure children with autism in Indiana get the care they deserve. Paid for by Indiana Act for Families.
Stop right now and ask yourself, what is most important to you? Hey, this is Casey Weed at Howard Bailey Financial, the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. We believe in developing retirement plans driven by what is most important to you, your purpose. Then we can build what we call your financial life plan, made up of 4 main pillars: liquidity for emergencies, income to last a lifetime, flexibility to adapt, estate planning to maximize your legacy, and finally, tax planning to maximize what you can spend and pass on. To learn more about saving on your taxes, get your free digital tax guide. Just call or text TAX42 to 866-482-9559. That's TAX42 to 866-482-9559.
Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. family owned, based right here in Indy. And they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close, or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, fun in the sun goes way beyond the white sand beaches. Let's rock out at a waterfront concert at the Sound. Let's marvel at masterpieces of the Chihuly Collection and make some flippered friends at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Let's pedal the 75-mile Pinellas Trail and stop at Florida's oldest microbrewery along the way. This fall, let's go for all the sun and none of the crowds. Let's shine. Plan your getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Hey, Jeff Chapman here. Lordy, I can't believe Chapman turns 40. Since 1983. Heck, I was still in my disco days back then. You know, staying alive. If your AC's having trouble staying alive, call the man for all seasons. Chapman Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Drains. ChapmanHeating.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's fall nursery headquarters.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
What an awesome day yesterday. Had some buddies over, had the grill going, had the beer flowing, had the TV on in the garage, watching some adults. I was pleasantly, it was fun watching the Colts again. I forgot what that was like. Even though they lost, they were ahead at one point, Hammer. In the fourth quarter, I believe they were ahead at one point. And they just couldn't keep it together. They got the rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson. I had fun watching him.
He was making some plays that I don't feel Matt Ryan would have made the year before.
No? I like that play. I think they probably should have just kicked the field goal, at least maybe stop the clock and challenge the spot. Remember early on in the game they were on the 20-yard line and they got a bad spot and it was fourth down and they rushed it and they didn't get it and that maybe could have changed the outcome of the game, I thought, possibly. But we didn't get they are who we thought they were, maybe, or no?
The real reality is the better team won.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to say that, but Jacksonville is the preseason favorite to win that division. They've got an experienced quarterback, a really good running back. Their defense is pretty solid. Unfortunately, the better team won. But unlike the tie from last year or the loss, the year before, going all the way back to 2013 on opening day, I think people are optimistic about the direction of where the Colts are going. Because keep in mind, Peyton Manning's rookie year as quarterback, he struggled. He set the record for interceptions.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck's first game as quarterback, he threw 3 picks, I believe, against the Chicago Bears. So there's hope. There's hope with this team, something this franchise desperately needed. But now we turn our attention to what's going to happen with Jonathan Taylor, because I think we all agree.
Yeah, the running game was lacking.
Old JT could have helped out a little bit yesterday. So I don't know if the relationship can be saved between Taylor and the Colts, or maybe you make a trade. I know the Ravens running back went down injured yesterday. We'll see. But boy, that running game yesterday, woof, that was awful. College football on Saturday was fun. Notre Dame had a big win. IU, you heard that game here Friday. They got a win. Purdue went on the road and got a win. But the biggest game on the schedule was Texas at Alabama. Just 2 heavyweights going at each other. It was at the point to where the Econo Lodge in Tuscaloosa was charging $1,000 a night, minimum 2-night stay. So
some of those nicer hotels are charging $5,000.
$5,000, and Texas went down to Bama and put a beating on them. Now ESPN had the game, and they had 2 different broadcasts. They had the traditional broadcasters, play-by-play, and then they had Pat McAfee kind of doing almost like a Manning cast.
Okay.
But he was in the stadium on the sideline with his friends, talking, watching the game, sharing his thoughts. At one point, Matthew McConaughey, who is the biggest Texas Longhorn fan you're going to find. I believe he's got some sort of title from the school. He's like an ambassador. He joined Pat McAfee, and this was right when the long bomb touchdown happened that gave Texas a big lead. Take a listen.
Zach, be there. Go, X. X! Hook 'em, baby! Come down here! Come down here! Did we talk about the long ball? Did we talk about the long ball? Was that money? Was that money? Was that money? Was that right there? It was you. A high def, live, in front, touchdown horns.
I love it. I love it. Now, I was not watching that game. I was watching tennis. I was watching the semifinals. Medvedev and Alcaraz. Now, speaking of Matthew McConaughey, he was in Novak Djokovic's team's box yesterday during the final between Medvedev and Djokovic, which Djokovic won, which is awesome. I love Djokovic. This is the first time he's been allowed in this country in 2 years because of his stupid vax status and Joe Biden's decree.
I love people were calling him Novax Djokovic.
Hey-o! But yeah, they had the Moderna shot of the game, and it was just kind of ironic. They had this, Moderna is one of the vaccine suppliers, right?
They sponsored the U.S. Open.
Yeah, here's the shot of the game featuring Novak Djokovic, who gave everybody the big middle finger on the vaccine. It was good, but McConaughey was in Djokovic, so he was all over the place this weekend. He was there in the finals for the U.S. Open on Sunday.
He lives a charmed life.
Yes, he does. I love it. He's a great actor.
Best Matthew McConaughey movie. I'm going to put myself out on a limb. I love The Time to Kill.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever seen him in a movie. That's when he became a big star. Dallas Buyers Club, that's the one he won the Oscar for. It was really, really, really good.
Yeah, of course, kind of made a name for himself as a Wooderson.
Oh, yeah.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
That's where we got the iconic all right from. But,
I keep getting older, they stay the same age.
Which is incredibly creepy. But his character was somehow endearing.
One of the other things, I'm sorry, just real quick, one of the other dumb things, and I texted you about this, you couldn't believe it. So it was Djokovic and Daniil Medvedev, the U.S. Open, and Medvedev's from Russia, and during they keep the score on the lower left hand side, and next to each player's name is the country's flag.
Right.
So Djokovic is the Serbian flag, and then Medvedev, it's blank. They won't show the Russian flag.
Oh, come on.
Like they had Djokovic's
so
flag, but Medvedev's, the entire U.S. Open, it was like that. So every time they'd show his name, they'd show the player's flag of the country of origin, and they left it blank. It's like just this gray thing. It was so dumb.
Who's the virtue signaling person in the graphics room? Like, do you think Putin is sitting somewhere in Moscow watching the coverage? Wow, they're not showing our flag. Maybe we've been wrong about this whole Ukraine invasion.
At one point they wouldn't let Medvedev play in a couple big tournaments because Russia had invaded Ukraine. I'm like, okay, what does that mean?
So what they got was the Russian guy against the no-vax guy. I'm sure that went over real well. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Yeah.
Whether it's driving a race car, building a business, or just being mom, you gotta solve problems. I'm former IndyCar driver Sarah Fisher, and when my problem was foot pain, the Good Feet store became my problem solver. Having the Good Feet store on your team is like having a great pit crew, helping to keep the feet and body in alignment and well balanced. Now I drive, walk, run, and live life pain-free. At the Good Feet store, they know that foot pain can impede everyday life. It's a constant battle that can affect you physically and emotionally, putting a strain on everything from small tasks to big adventures. As Indy's premier arch support specialist, the Good Feet store enhances the quality of life for anyone desiring to live life without limits. My Good Feet arch supports help me cruise through my days in comfort. See how they work for you with a free, personalized fitting at either one of our 2 Indianapolis locations, or make an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Got the TV hung in my garage. Had the guys over to watch the Colts game yesterday, and they hadn't seen my brand new garage floor that Galaxy Concrete put a new coating on. They were blown away. My new Galaxy Concrete garage floor is out of this world. It's 4 times as strong, so easy to clean. Galaxy came out and did it within a day. And the thing is, they don't use epoxy. That's the old stuff the other guys use. What they use for my garage floor, it's better. It's polyurea. That's the new premium standard for coatings. And the manufacturer just upgraded the warranty from 15 years to life. See before and after pictures, GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com, or give them a call, 751-9070.
The 32nd Annual Salute to the Troops Rally at the Jay County Fairgrounds in Portland, Indiana, September 15th through 17th. See the UH-1 Huey, the M5A1 Stuart Tank, World War II, Korean, Vietnam, and Cold War living history displays, plus over 50 military vehicles and 60 military equipment vendors, helicopter rides, and a military swap meet. And experience the Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Never Forget mobile exhibit. Admission is free September 15th through 17th at the Jay County Fairgrounds in Portland, Indiana.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What he'll do if he gets the job. 82 degrees with a few clouds over the circle. You've got a clear radar. Tonight's low drops to about 63, and there is a slight chance for rain. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:31. Republican mayoral candidate Jefferson Shreve says his first priority as mayor of Indianapolis is to hire a public safety officer.
I'm not a former cop. I'm not a former firefighter. I don't hold myself out as the expert there. I'm the executive. I mean, I've got the managerial experience, and my aim is to stand up the team of talent, that executive talent that can get it done on all fronts.
Talking to WIBC's Tony Katz, he has a debate with his opponent, current Mayor Joe Hogsett, next month. A man in Du Bois County was arrested over the weekend when he was found with a lot of illegal guns and drugs.
It was a joint investigation between sheriff's deputies in Du Bois and Pike counties. Clinton Allen is charged with stealing guns, dealing meth, and neglect of a dependent. Allen is said to have had at least 17 stolen guns and ammo. He also had meth and marijuana in the home where he was arrested. Investigators believe he was selling the drugs out of the home. He was taken to the Du Bois County Jail. Kurt Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The FDA is approving updated COVID-19 boosters from Pfizer and Moderna that will target Omicron subvariants that are spreading across the country. The CDC Advisory Committee will meet this week to review the safety and efficacy of shots and vote on recommendations of who should get the booster. A government shutdown is possible if Congress can't agree on a spending bill by the end of the month.
We've got to stop the spending that has created this cost of living crisis for working Americans.
Texas Republican Congressman Jody Arrington, he leads the Budget Committee. And a ceremony was held at the Pentagon today, 22 years after an American Airlines flight was hijacked by terrorists and flown into the building.
In so many ways, you turn grief into grit and sorrow into strength. And you helped us to see beyond ourselves and give back to our fellow Americans, and to deepen our democracy and to work toward a stronger, safer future.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin talking about the strength shown for the families of the victims that day. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:33.
Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or federal alternative minimum tax.
The stock market dropped by over
the Federal Reserve raised interest rates.
Let's face it, investing can feel pretty scary and overwhelming these days, especially if you're retired or close to retirement, which is why you should consider investing in municipal bonds from Hennian & Walsh. Municipal bonds can provide a source of federally tax-free retirement income. Plus, an investment in municipal bonds is an investment in America. Municipal bonds help finance major civil projects across the country, like the Golden Gate Bridge and Hoover Dam, as well as local roads, bridges, and schools. Call 1-800-761-9761 right now for our informative free bond guide and learn how you can earn tax-free retirement income while investing in America's future. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for the free Hennian & Walsh bond guide. There's no cost and no obligation. 1-800-761-9761.
Hennian & Walsh Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
The traffic at 334. Here's Matt Bear.
All right, Harrison, stop traffic on the east side in Lawrence, northbound 465 from 70 up to Penn Pike. That is because of repaving. And right now, the roadway's reduced to 2 lanes, 2 left lanes. It's going to be like that until September 25th. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it at bwindow.com. And now for a limited time, get 40% off all products. A free entry door plus 20 months. No interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Clouds increase throughout the day today. This afternoon, we'll get up to about 82. Tonight, we'll see lows near 64 with rain developing during the overnight hours. I'm Wish TV storm tracking meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The only way to bag a classy lady is to give her 2 tickets to the gun show.
It's Monday Gun Day with the gun guy.
Just watch out for the guns. They'll get you.
Guy Relford.
Stop calling your arms guns.
Hammer and Nigel show.
My name is Nigel. Hammer's here. Guy Relford, the gun guy, host of the Gun Guy Show. Saturdays here on 93 WIBC. Also joining us, 2A attorney, licensed firearms instructor. Guy, how are you?
Man, I'm great, and thanks as always to our sponsor for Monday Gun Day. That's Premier Arms in Brownsburg, with the largest selection of new, used, and historic firearms in the Midwest, and PA Jewelers located right in the store. Check them out at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg or premierarms.com.
All right, I saw this. I just couldn't believe it. This crazy lunatic tyrannical New Mexico governor that wants to ban firearms in high crime areas. Here's a little bit of that clip here.
If there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my freedoms. In this emergency, this 11-year-old and all these parents who have lost all these children, they deserve my attention to have the debate about whether or not in an emergency we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those too. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subrogated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
All right, you're going to have to break this down for us. What exactly did she do? What kind of challenges, pushback is she getting? And is this what she did, declaring some sort of public emergency with guns legitimate?
Yeah, well, what she did is she said, well, there's a public health emergency. And as we have here in Indiana, if you declare a public health emergency, like, for instance, with COVID, that gives the governor certain powers, and the governor can issue executive orders. In her case, in New Mexico, the governor out there declared not only a public health emergency, but said as a result, she's banning all carry of firearms in public for at least 30 days by anyone, anytime. There are certain exceptions, I guess, for police officers and whatnot, but in terms of the public, she said you simply cannot any longer carry, and this is in Albuquerque.
So 30 days to flatten the curve for gun violence.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Albuquerque.
And so okay. They're saying, well, we're seeing a lot of crime in Albuquerque, so law-abiding citizens, you can no longer carry a gun to defend yourself. That's her approach. But to answer the rest of your question, we just had a Supreme Court decision in the Bruin case that you guys and I have talked about many times. Just came down last June of 2022, and it said, listen, the carry of a firearm outside the home is a fundamental core freedom protected by the Second Amendment. And in that case, they were looking at New York's licensing system for giving handgun licenses that gave handgun licenses to some people, but based on an assessment of how much you needed to carry a gun, that government officials could decline your application for a license to carry. And it said, no, you know what? When some citizens have the right to exercise that protected right to bear arms under the Second Amendment, others don't, that violates that core freedom. So this idiot governor, barely 14, 15, 16 months from that decision from the Supreme Court that said preventing some citizens, law-abiding citizens, from carrying a gun in public, she's going to ban all citizens from carrying a gun in public within an entire city the size of Albuquerque. Guess what? That's absolutely unconstitutional, and I can't believe there was a single lawyer on her staff or in her attorney general's office that didn't pipe up and say, hold on, you can't do this, it's illegal.
But we've seen this from Democrats before, though. Joe Biden tries this all the time.
Yeah.
He knows stuff is not going to fly, but he wants to make it look like he's fighting the good fight and appeasing some of the big donors, does stuff that he knows the courts are going to overturn.
Yeah, and that's when it comes back to the other part of her announcement that you guys played. Because a lot of people, appropriately there in New Mexico, as you would expect, have come back to her and said, hold on, when you got sworn into office, didn't you swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America? And if you're doing this, which obviously, no question, I mean, it's not even a close call, obviously violates the Constitution, aren't you violating your oath? And she said, oh no, in an emergency, nothing is absolute, including my oath. Well, hold on.
She is crazy.
Do you put your hand on a Bible and say, I swear to support and defend, protect the Constitution of the United States until I don't have to anymore?
Unless there's an emergency?
Because there's an emergency? Is that how that's written? Is that how the Constitution is written? Here are the fundamental rights, that our founding fathers laid out that shall not be violated. Where is the part that says, unless there's an emergency? And make no mistake, guys, I mean, this is fundamentally true. If the government can infringe your rights anytime there's an emergency, the government will create an emergency in order to infringe your rights. That's absolutely the way that works. And the founders were smart enough to know that. That's why that contingency is not built into the Constitution.
So let's say that you, Guy Relford, lived in New Mexico and you hear your governor say this. I know you're not well versed on all the state laws of New Mexico, but what would you be doing next?
Oh, I'm already at the courthouse. I'm filing a lawsuit. And guess what? I'm also participating in what happened. I don't know if you guys saw this coverage. There were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of armed citizens. These are law-abiding citizens with firearms. And a lot of times, open carry protests, I'm kind of ambivalent about unless they have a clearly defined objective. This one clearly did. They showed up at the State House.
But wait a minute. They weren't allowed to have guns.
And we're all and elite. No, you're completely right, Nigel. They were not allowed. They showed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them showed up in Albuquerque and went to the public square and said, here we are. What are you going to do about it? And guess what? What happened right after that? Local sheriff came out and said, I believe this order to be unconstitutional and I will not enforce it.
Wow.
And here's a great fact to layer right on top of this. And I love this, love this, love this. You love it when a leftist progressive agenda comes right around to bite them in the ass. And that's what we have here, because guess what they did 2 years ago? They repealed qualified immunity for government officials in New Mexico. So they went out and they said, well, cops get too much protection if they use excessive force. So it really caught up in the, defund the police movement kind of thing. They eliminated qualified immunity, which protects government officials from civil damages, civil liability in the event they allegedly violate somebody's constitutional rights. They eliminated that. They repealed that in New Mexico. So one thing I'd also be looking at, to answer your question, Hammer, is I'd be looking squarely at, is the governor part of the government officials that no longer is insulated by qualified immunity, such that if she violates my constitutional rights, I can sue her directly?
And it's willfully, too. She's not like accidentally taking away your rights. She's bragging about it.
Well, there's a good reason the cops didn't do anything then or detain anybody, because that could go back around on them as well, right? Some private citizen that gets arrested for the cop violated a constitutional right, the cop could get sued personally.
That is precisely right, Nigel, and you nailed it right on the head. And so since they said, well, we think cops are just getting way too much protection here, so we're going to repeal qualified immunity in New Mexico, guess what? If I were in answer to your question, what would I be doing? I'd be looking to own her mansion sometime in the next 2 years after I sue her personally for violating my constitutional freedoms.
It's Monday Gun Day. Guy Relford with us. So this lunatic governor says, I want to take a specific section and change the rules for that. Tell me that doesn't sound Very much like what we're seeing in Marion County with a certain Republican mayor candidate, Guy.
That's what I've been saying all over social media. Is people are all outraged and they're saying, "Oh my God, how can this governor propose any such thing?" I'm like, hold on. Have you looked in your own backyard? Because not only, I mean, predictably, we had Joe Hoxett come out and say, no, I'm completely eliminating concealed carry of firearms in Marion County.
You'd expect that from Joe, super left Democrat. You'd expect that from him.
That's a mirror image of what they're talking about doing in New Mexico that, people are understandably outraged about. But what then happened, and how many times have we talked about this here on your guys' show? But then the Republican candidate, Jefferson Shreve, came out and said, well, that sounds like a good idea. and so he emulates the whole damn plan and says, yeah, that's the way we're going to keep people safe, is to eliminate rights from law-abiding citizens. And he rolled out, in fairness, he didn't propose to eliminate all concealed carry. He just wants to roll back constitutional carry, which only allows law-abiding citizens to carry a gun in public. So Jefferson Shreve's idea, just like the governor in New Mexico, is to say, I know, let's keep people safe by preventing law-abiding citizens from defending themselves in public. That idiocy is mind-boggling, but it's been mirrored right here. I mean, we're as outraged as everyone is about New Mexico. Our own Republican candidate for mayor right here in Marion County is of exactly the same philosophy.
I can't believe more Democrat governors aren't pulling this crap.
Well, they will.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I went on with Tony Cass today to talk about this a little bit. And Tony asked me a really, really good question that I hadn't really thought about, which is this a test balloon? Are they doing this as to Albuquerque? Because, by the way, the health department right here in Marion County, was it Box, who came out and said, I think gun violence is a public health emergency.
Virginia Kane.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, they were talking about the same thing in Marion County.
Absolutely. So this whole idea of declaring a public health emergency and using that to get around the fact they can't go to the legislature and get anything done on gun control. So what are they going to do? They're going to declare a public health emergency so they don't have to go to the legislature. The executive, through the governor or mayor and their executive agencies, like a health department, can limit your constitutional rights, yours and mine. That's exactly what this looks like. If this is successful in Albuquerque, and the reason I'm glad people are as outraged and it's getting as much attention as it is, if this is successful in New Mexico, then we'll see it all over the country. I'll guarantee you we'll see it right here in Marion County.
Both mayor candidates in Indianapolis are rooting for the governor of of New Mexico. Let that sink in just a little bit.
Like, I couldn't believe, like, the David Hogg dude was tweeting about this. The
Parkland guy.
Yeah, that is now anti-2A even. When you've lost David Hogg.
Right.
Didn't he tweet about this and say, no, you can't do this?
Well, they said constitutional rights don't disappear in an emergency. And he's right on that. But by the way, during COVID, we saw lawsuits be successful all across the country that said, you know what, I want to go to the church of my choice and exercise the free exercise of religion clause of the First Amendment, and the government says I can't go to my church of choice. Why doesn't that violate my free exercise of religion rights under the First Amendment? And courts all across the country came out and said it does. And that's why that'll never happen again.
On the YouTube chat, Bonnie, can we write in Abdul on the ballot? Yes, you can. You can write in a candidate for the mayor's race in Indianapolis. Neither one of these clowns deserve your vote. They're both rooting for the lunatic governor in New Mexico. That should tell you all you need. I'm telling you, I'm putting money down. I think Abdul may set a record for write-in votes this year. Where can people find you at, Guy?
At Guy Relford on Twitter, at Guy Relford.
Guy, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, Casey.
Yeah.
I have a number that could potentially change your life.
Oh my gosh, please share it with me.
And for once, it could be for the better.
Okay. What's the number?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's 36.
Okay. What about it?
How would you like to get a 36% bonus when you invest your money?
Yes, please.
So if you invest $100,000, you get a $36,000 bonus. If you invest $200,000, you get a $72,000 bonus.
Hey, it's Kendall and Casey. And not only can you get a 36% bonus, you also get a competitive return. An average of 7% a year for the past 10 years. Plus, your money is backed by one of the largest insurance companies in the world. To learn more, call our friend Bill Demery, your retirement guy. He's right here in Indy at 317-932-9912.
36 could be the number for you too. This 36% bonus won't last long, so call 317-932-9912. 317-932-9912. Past performance is no guarantee of future returns.
So the U.S. home price index is on the rise. Interest rates are stabilizing. The market's turning more seller-friendly. So if you've been waiting, now may be the best time to sell your home. Find out with the agent I recommend. That's Mark Dietl. Take Kevin and Lori, for instance. Their family was growing out of their house. It was too small. They found a bigger place, but they needed to sell their current home for top dollar to afford a bigger place. Mark Dietl made it happen. Home sold in 7 days, and they made sure they were closed on both houses in the same day.
What are you waiting for? Call the only agent that we trust and recommend on the Hammer and Nigel show. The only agent who guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232. That's 755-4232, or go to markdietl.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietl.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Rake in big savings at Koenig Equipment this fall. Buy a new John Deere compact tractor and get $1,000 off any in-stock Frontier attachment. Save on blades to level your driveway, rotary cutters to maintain fields, pallet forks to move materials, and much more. Turn to Koenig Equipment, your local John Deere authorities, for the tractor, attachments, parts, and service you need for any season. Stop by or visit KoenigEquipment.com today. Offer ends 10/31/23. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
I'm a grandson, a son. I'm an employee and a mentor. I'm a father to 2 beautiful kids and a husband to an amazing wife. And I have a substance use disorder. In other words, I'm living in recovery with an addiction. And now that you know, will you let it change how you see me? It's okay to see my addiction, but I want you to know it's people choosing to see me as a person that changed my life.
See the person, not just their disease. Learn more at cbeyondtheaddiction.org.
Indiana Digital Learning School is the perfect choice for students who desire an academic challenge with an education plan tailored to their individual needs and interests. Do you have an advanced teen that would benefit from dual enrollment opportunities that allow them to earn high school and college credits? Indiana Digital Learning School is a tuition-free online public school now enrolling for the 2023-24 school year. Learn more at k12.com/INDLS. Indiana Digital Learning School, committed to the success of every student.
Are you a translator for your spouse? Are you the one always on the telephone because your husband or wife struggled to hear? You need to check out RelayIndiana.com and CapTel, the captioned telephone. The CapTel phone allows the hard of hearing person to enjoy conversations through voice recognition technology, with the other person's words appearing on the easy-to-read screen. Go online to RelayIndiana.com for more information about CapTel and let your spouse enjoy their own phone calls. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Sundown Gardens Fall Nursery Shipment is here and the products look outstanding. Visit them this fall for all nursery, pumpkins, gourds, decor, and mum needs. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road.
Design it before you buy it. For a limited time, receive 40% off all products, plus a free entry door, and 20 months, no interest, no payment.
Trust me.
Matt Bear, tell me how bad it is.
It's really, really bad right now, Hammer. We are on the north side, westbound 465 before Michigan Road. That's a hit blocking the center lane. Also debris over on the right shoulder and wreckage. Traffic's trying to get around the crash to the left and to the right, so it is a mess. We are stopped almost to Meridian for 26 minutes. Northbound 465, Lawrence jam from 70 to Penn Pike because of the repaving project. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for the traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Beautiful day. Sunshine 81 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. So one of our favorites on this program is Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
He had some thoughts on how the press is really going after Mitch McConnell right now because he's old and he has these incidents. But looking at what Joe Biden did at Vietnam,
that was awful.
They're going to have to take a look at Joe, too.
All the press here on Capitol Hill has wanted to talk about
this week is Senator McConnell. They're wetting their collective pants with delight and being able to talk about it because it keeps them from having to talk about President Biden. I mean, the polls clearly show, whether you agree or disagree, that about 60% of the American people think that President Biden can't finish a sentence without taking a nap. But the press up here doesn't want to talk about that.
I almost spit out my monster right there when he said wetting their collective pants. I love this guy.
Well, don't take a drink now because it's time for great moments in Senator Kennedy history.
Yeah!
This is when a Biden nominee was busted for having personal attacks against a lot of the congressmen.
And I don't mind disagreements in policy. I think that's great. I love the dialectic. But the comments were personal. You call Senator Sanders everything but an ignorant slut.
How about this one? Here's a little bit more from Senator Kennedy talking about Joe Biden's popularity.
The American people may be poorer under President Biden, but they're not stupid. President Biden's approval rating ranks right up there with jock itch.
Damn it, I did it again.
And Nigel, I think this is your favorite.
It's very easy to tell a boy from a girl. A boy has a penis, a girl has a vagina.
There it is. Great moments in Senator Kennedy history. It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Summer storm season is in full swing here in Indiana. When the next storm hits and leaves you with wind and hail damage, there is no need to worry. Tony Katz here and Moss Roofing is here in central Indiana to help you through it all. They can repair storm damage to your roof and siding. Moss Roofing not only gives free inspections, but they also help guide their customers through the annoying insurance process to help give their customers the best experience possible. That's why Moss Roofing is your trusted Indianapolis roofing contractor. You get a roof done right every single time. If your roof needs an inspection, call now. Minor storm damage can lead to major repairs if you don't get it fixed as soon as possible. Contact Moss Roofing at 317-747-3665. Don't forget to tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com. That's mossroofing.com.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but you hate the paint? Well, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with a Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Hey, you're up next. My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight. Here, try these. Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks Vapors.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
I told you. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Jefferson Shreve is sticking with his plan to stop crime in the Circle City. A loose tire caused a fatal crash on the west side this morning, and Ryan Hedrick reports in a day Americans will never forget. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. We're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 4 o'clock.
President Biden is now in Alaska. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News, arriving a short time ago and set to mark 9/11 by speaking to service members and first responders on his way back from an overseas trip. The First Lady is set to lay a wreath at the Pentagon, where Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was part of annual ceremonies earlier today.
The men and women of the Department of Defense will always remember.
Vice President Kamala Harris was among the many dignitaries paying tribute in New York City. Her husband, the second gentleman, visiting the memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. An escaped killer is no longer where police thought he was after trying to arrange meetings with two acquaintances over the weekend in Pennsylvania, where Danilo Cavalcante has been on the run from the Chester County Prison for 12 days now. A wooded area had been the focus after multiple sightings. Robert Clark with the U.S. Marshal Service says that was to Cavalcante's advantage.
He was in an 8 square mile area that with very difficult terrain. That was very difficult to get to. And there were some weaknesses in the perimeter.
He says the advantage is now shifted to law enforcement in an urban area, though state police say there is no defined search area now. The latest COVID shots from Moderna and Pfizer win FDA approval for most Americans aged 12 and older. They're also approved under emergency use authorization for kids as young as 6 months old. This as a handful of schools bring back mask mandates temporarily because of an uptick in COVID hospitalizations.
Nationwide, current hospitalizations are at a fraction of what they were during previous COVID surges. Federal health officials say a combination of COVID treatments, vaccination, and natural immunity puts the nation in a better place.
Fox's Jonathan Seri. Friday's earthquake in Morocco is now blamed for more than 2,800 deaths as a search continues in devastated villages. Stocks finish higher, the Dow up 88 at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's sticking with his plan. 83 degrees with a few clouds over the monument. There's nothing on your radar, but rain chances come into play later tonight as your low drops to 63. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. He says he has a solution to fight crime in Indianapolis. Republican mayoral candidate Jefferson Shreve told WIBC's Tony Katz on day one of his administration he would focus on lowering the murder rate.
Solve rates on homicides up, staffing counts to that point. So then we can start focusing on the nonviolent crimes, the property level crimes.
Shreve and Democrat incumbent Mayor Joe Hogsett will debate October 23rd. A man was murdered by his coworker while both were on the clock Saturday night. Sam Fritz reports it happened just off I-70.
A fight between two coworkers ended with one man stabbing the other to death on Saturday. Police from Hendricks County Sheriff's Office were dispatched to the TA truck stop on State Road 39 around 5:58 p.m. after a reported stabbing. Officers say they learned of a fight breaking out between Darren Simpson and Sebastian Jones. Police believe that mid-fight, Jones pulled out a knife and stabbed Simpson, who was later taken to an Indianapolis hospital and died from his injuries. Jones was taken into custody at the truck stop and has been preliminarily charged with murder. Sam Fritz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And there was a fatal crash this morning.
Yeah, just an unfortunate set of circumstances here, chain of events that led to a fatal crash.
State Police Sergeant John Pride talking about the west side wreck in the westbound lanes of I-70. A tire came loose from one car, bounced over the median and his small SUV, knocking it off the road. The driver of that SUV is who died in the wreck. Gas is up nearly 15 cents from last week. $3.73 is your average, says GasBuddy.com. Some stations in central Indiana are selling it for $3.34 a gallon. It's been 22 years. Ryan Hedrick reports in a day Americans will never forget.
Hoosiers paused to remember September 11th, 2001. An Indianapolis man standing on an overpass this morning on 465, waving an American flag in New York City. That bell marking the moment the South Tower was struck by a hijacked plane. It collapsed less than an hour later. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Traffic and weather in 1 minute. Your time is 4:04.
Stop right now and ask yourself, what is most important to you? Hey, this is Casey Weed at Howard Bailey Financial, the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. We believe in developing retirement plans driven by what is most important to you, your purpose. Then we can build what we call your financial life plan, made up of 4 main pillars: liquidity for emergencies, income to last a lifetime, flexibility to adapt, estate planning to maximize your legacy, and finally, tax planning to maximize what you can spend and pass on. To learn more about saving on your taxes, get your free digital tax guide. Just call or text TAX42 to 866-482-9559. That's TAX42 to 866-482-9559.
Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
With traffic on the 5s at 4:05, here's Matt Baer.
You got it, Harrison. Looking at the north side, that's a crash westbound 465 between Ditch and Michigan. Right now, the center lane is blocked. The right shoulder is covered. Traffic stop back to Meridian for a 32-minute delay on the north side of those westbound lanes. Northbound 465 stop and go traffic 86th Street to 865. You make it east, you'll be with the Rubbernecker slow out to Ditch Road. Looking at the east side, northbound 465 jammed in Lawrence because of repaving from 70F to Penn Pike. We only have 2 lanes running. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They've teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
We'll see some steady showers move through for our Monday night with lows in the mid-60s. Looking at a damp start toward Tuesday before showers turn much more spotty for Tuesday afternoon and evening. Highs only in the low 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos? So let's rock it!
Okay, so Joe Biden's going to deliver a 9/11 address about 45 minutes from now from Alaska at a military base in Anchorage. He's on his way back to the White House after last weekend's G20 summit in India. How sad is it that I'm relieved he's actually not at ground zero for the anniversary of 9/11? I don't think it mattered one bit that he wasn't there today when they were reading off names.
And you're right.
Or in D.C. for that matter.
Expectations are so low with this president. I think everybody would be waiting for him to say something stupid, like comparing what happened on that day to his Corvette almost catching fire or something. Like, that's where we're at with Joe Biden, but he will be making remarks 4:45. We're not going to bring it to you. If anything happens, we obviously will talk about it, but he will not be in New York, Washington, D.C., or in Shanksville, Pennsylvania for this. And sometimes it feels like Shanksville gets left out of the conversation a lot because we have seen with our own eyes those planes go into the towers, the planes crashing into the Pentagon. But the heroic efforts of the cast and crew of Flight 93, Todd Beamer, let's roll, bringing that thing down in a field in Pennsylvania, man, that's a big deal. Because we don't know where that plane was heading. Could have been the Capitol, could have been the White House. And, man, one more thing here. And I know we said we're not going to talk 9/11 all day long, but I think this is important. If you're somebody that feels like the government had a hand in this, I'm not going to tell you how to think, but for one day, can you not be an overbearing pain in the ass because thousands of people did die that day.
Horrifically died.
Horrifically. And since then, a lot more have died because of what happened that day. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. But if you're a conspiracy theory guy, okay, I'm not going to tell you what to think, but for one day, can you just turn it off? Because maybe there's somebody out there that did lose a loved one and they're not in the mood for your crap.
You mentioned people are still dying as a result of 9/11, 22 years later, Hammer. I didn't know this, more police and firefighters have died from post 9/11 related illnesses than died on the day of the attacks, including 7 deaths since last month. Just let that sink in for a second.
And a lot of these first responders, they've kind of organized, and I think Jon Stewart has been kind of the spokesperson for a lot of these guys, former host of The Daily Show. He wanted to get a lot of things passed in Washington.
Yeah. And so what's happening is hundreds and hundreds have developed cancer, respiratory diseases as a direct result of the toxic fumes and the dust that hung around in the air in the World Trade Center on the days following. So that's what's happening still to this day. People are dying as a result of all those toxic fumes. That's crazy.
Where are you at with this promotion? So DraftKings Sportsbook.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's still up, but earlier today, they were promoting a 9/11 parlay titled Never Forget, which it offered sports bettors a chance to back all of the New York teams on this 22nd anniversary of the terror attacks.
No, I'm not okay with that. If we're playing a round of Are You Okay With This, I am not okay in any way, shape, or form of DraftKings capitalizing 9/11 to parlay on New York teams, to bet on New York teams. That's basically what this is.
Right.
No, are you?
No.
That's insane.
You know me.
I'm
the kind of guy that will bet on Russian table tennis if the mood strikes me right. I like a good old-fashioned bet, but this is kind of gross. DraftKings and their Never Forget 9/11 parlay promotion offering bettors the chance to back all the New York teams on the 22nd anniversary of the terror attacks.
Here's the update. The parlay was taken down today. And they issued a statement, quote, "We sincerely apologize for the featured parlay that was shared briefly in commemoration of 9/11. We respect the significance of this day for our country and especially for the families of those who were directly affected." Somebody's getting fired at DraftKings. Some promotional guy or marketing guy, whoever came up with that genius plan, is out of a job today and probably well-deserved.
Taking a look at some other stories. So New York having a big problem with immigration right now. But it's funny because they said they were a sanctuary city just a couple years ago, Nige.
Yep.
When all those mean, nasty, surly Republican governors were saying, hey, this is a problem and we can't do it all by ourselves. New York City, virtue signaled to the world and said, we are a sanctuary city. We welcome everyone.
Yeah, Mayor Adams tweeted about it. Tweeted those very words.
Well, now that the border is wide open, those illegal border crossers have taken New York up on it. And now New York's saying, well, hold on. Take a listen to this. This was interesting. Over the weekend, MSNBC actually asked Mayor Adams in a roundabout way if he was being a hypocrite.
Critics on the right have noted that New York City is a sanctuary city, and this migrant crisis comes with that territory. What do you say to those who think you relinquish your right to complain about the stresses it places on your city because of that?
Well, I think that those comments coming from those far-right Trump-like Republicans who are continue to try to distort the reality that we do not have real immigration reform, that we should allow a true decompression strategy, protect our borders in the right way, and make sure that when you look at this city, the status of right to shelter, no one who created this decades ago took into account that we were talking about hundreds of thousands of people potentially coming to the city.
Yeah, nobody thought about the Democrat progressive president would open the borders wide open. would I mean, just a free flow of illegal immigrants coming to the state. Nobody could imagine really that would have happened. And now that it's happening, I mean, Mayor Adams, you remember that clip last week, was saying these people are ruining the city.
Named countries.
Ecuador.
Venezuela.
I mean, he just started, he's like, they are ruining, well, he said they're ruining the city. I think I said country, but he said these people are ruining our city. Welcome to the party.
Right. How do you think these small border towns along the Rio Grande feel that are nowhere near the size of New York City that has all these resources and space?
And I guarantee Adams and all these other Democrat mayors that are whining and complaining in Chicago and places like that and in New York City, they're not blaming Joe Biden. I haven't heard them mention Joe Biden once. They're blaming Governor Abbott. They're blaming DeSantis. That's who they're blaming. And when he says we need a decompression strategy, he's not talking about closing the border. He wants work permits and ID cards for all these people so they can get right to work and maybe even possibly vote.
Speaking of voting, Iowa kind of the epicenter of Republican politics right now, as it's the first on the primary schedule. And over the weekend, a lot of the candidates were in Iowa going to the big football game because it was Iowa taking on Iowa State, the Hawkeyes against the Cyclones. Take a listen to this. This is the audio of Donald Trump, who was at the game walking to his seat. That's a pretty loud response for a guy that's got multiple indictments on him right now. That's a pretty strong USA chant.
Yeah, and the only photos anybody's ever sharing on mainstream media is some guy flipping him off.
Right, of course. But that crowd, to me, I don't know, one of those Krasen sign turds on Twitter said that he got booed. I went back and watched a lot of the videos. That was an overwhelming round of applause.
Getting mobbed in a positive way.
And he's tailgating, too. He's like throwing the ball around with people, and he's grilling out a little bit. Meanwhile, while Donald Trump's having fun at a football game, this was Joe Biden in front of the world.
But I'm going to go to bed.
Pretty different styles there from the presidential frontrunners. All right, Matt Bear, what's going on?
North side crash westbound to 465. It's before Michigan Road and in the center lane right now. Right 3 lanes are currently blocked and traffic is getting by on the left shoulder only. This is a mess. 3 right lanes blocked and traffic squeaking by right now. So westbound lanes almost closed completely on the north side before Michigan Road. Traffic stopped back to Meridian. In Lawrence, northbound 465 stopped traffic from 72 Penn Pike. That's a construction zone as we're reduced to 2 lanes. Traffic sponsored by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Sunshine 81 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Is this anything? Next.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
Oh, let's do it again, baby. Chant with me. Pay off your credit cards. Pay off your credit cards. Hammer here for my friends at Loan Pronto. LoanPronto.com. If you want to pay off some of those ridiculous 27% interest credit cards, reach out to my friends at Loan Pronto, because right now you could get $50,000 or $100,000 out. As a matter of fact, you can access about 90% of your home's value. And what makes Loan Pronto a game changer, they do all this with very little paperwork and usually without an appraisal. So you can supervise the entire process. They do all the heavy lifting. They do all the paperwork, and you can use the money to do some home remodeling or pay off some of those credit cards. Whatever you're into, reach out to loanpronto.com. 317-953-6525. That's 953-6525. 953-6525. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, you're up next.
My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight.
Here, try these.
Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks vapors.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
I told you. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
The Indianapolis Ballet presents Balancing Acts at the Toby Theater at Newfields, September 22nd through the 24th, featuring George Balanchine's beautiful Allegro Brilliant, the exciting Don Quixote Suite, and the premiere of The Planets. Your Indianapolis Ballet, September 22nd through the 24th. For subscriptions and single tickets, go to indieballet.org. See you at the ballet.
Hi, this is Pastor Micah Beckwith.
And I'm Pastor Mike Melito from Life Church.
For the last few days, you may have heard about our Hope Starts Here breakfast, which addresses the issue of sex trafficking within our world. We ask you to join with us in prayer that the Lord would work powerfully to set those caught in the scourge of the sex trade free.
We'd also like to offer you an invitation to join us at the breakfast on September 14th at 7 a.m. at the Lucas Estate in Carmel. The breakfast is an amazing opportunity to take action and have a direct impact rescuing those who are currently enslaved around the world. Go to lifechurchin.com to register today.
While interest rates are skyrocketing everywhere else, Diamonds Direct comes to the rescue. Now for a limited time, get 0% interest for 5 years on anything and everything. Now through October 1st, you get Diamonds Direct's incredible value price and spread your payments over 5 years with an unheard of interest rate of 0.0%. Nothing's held back. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets. At a time when you need it most, Diamonds Direct steps up with the best offer in the nation. Don't miss it. Get details, showroom hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. On approved credit.
24/7 ER care for kids. 24/7 peace of mind for you. Riley Children's Health emergency doctors and nurses are in the ER around the clock at IU Health North in Carmel. Learn more at rileychildrens.org/ER.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's fall nursery headquarters.
Hammer and Nigel presents
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
I think we know how this goes. Hammer, hit me.
Is this anything? A storm passing through Louisiana caused a Taco Bell sign to fall on top of somebody's car and crushing the back seats of it. Luckily, the woman inside was not seriously injured after becoming trapped in the car. Here is the superintendent of the parish talking about what happened.
EMTs were on site pretty quick. The emergency personnel were here. The individual was taken out of the car very carefully, and miraculously she was not injured more than what her injuries were. And as you can tell, if you do some close-ups of where the sign actually fell, no one else was injured because it's a pretty big sign, very high sign. And we're just thankful that nobody got seriously injured.
Okay, you got to hold on. I'm going to tweet this out. I'm not going to post it, but it's not like he's right. That guy, whoever that was, it's not a small sign. This woman is lucky to be alive, Hammer. I mean, you've got to see, go to @Hammer and Nigel right now and look at this car. Holy God Almighty. She was inches. If anybody was riding in the back seat, if she had kids, they would have been smashed.
Oh my goodness.
Death.
That's a big sign. That's a big sign. I mean, that's certainly something, and she should probably, just be thanking her lucky stars
thanking God that she wasn't, off by a couple of inches that could have landed. I mean, look at that thing.
That is a big honking sign right there, which gives us an excuse for great moments in Taco Bell history.
Okay.
This was when there was a fire at a Taco Bell, I believe in Alabama, and people took it so hard they had a candlelight vigil.
We're just out here giving remembrance. I mean, I think it was the best Taco Bell in Montgomery. I can't eat here.
I felt like I lost a family member.
Well, I'm hoping we get closure tonight and we can move on to the next cause. But we're here supporting Taco Bell tonight, and that's what's important.
I'm hurt. My feelings are hurt. I got to go all the way to Perry Hill to get some Taco Bell. Hurts my feelings.
Now,
that is wonderful. A cause everybody can get behind. Black, white, whatever religion, I don't care. You are at the candlelight vigil for the burnt down Taco Bell.
The candlelight vigil was such a big deal in Alabama, a local TV station covered it.
Grieving in not so average way. Some didn't want to talk about it. Talk about the things you do for the ones you love.
Little play on words from the wacky TV executives at the ABC affiliate in Montgomery.
That's awful.
Is this anything? A Ukrainian MMA fighter, now living in Philly, chased down and hung off the window of his vehicle after it was stolen from him.
Gosh.
During the endeavor, the thieves fired 2 shots and luckily missed him. Here is the fighter and his friend explaining what happened.
I see for people sit my car and go forward. I grab my door, say stop car, it's my car, say don't touch car, I kill you.
He's been in this country for, I think, maybe a year now, and he's been robbed twice.
Damn, well, welcome to Philadelphia.
Right.
You may be safer in Ukraine right now than in inner city Philadelphia. And this is something for sure because, I don't know. I mean, this guy probably had to fight for every dollar and cent that he has. And if you're taking away his transportation, his ability to get to and from making a living, then, yeah, you're gonna go after it with everything he had. But he's lucky to be alive. Like, I get carjacked, I'm saying, bye, all right, just make sure my kids aren't in the car. Take everything you want. I'm out of here. And this guy is, again, another story where he's lucky to be alive because it sounds like the carjackers fired a couple shots at him while he was hanging off the door.
Imagine the things this guy has seen in his life.
I know.
You're an MMA fighter, you grew up in Ukraine, and now you come to Philadelphia and people are trying to shoot and rob you. Like, this guy has seen some things. Is this anything? A Las Vegas rapper was arrested after putting out a song about killing a man. Kenwan McDaniel, a.k.a. the biggest Finn 4800, rapped the lyrics, and I quote,
okay.
I be the reason why he's dead. We still taunt him when he die. Not the reason he's dead, so celebrate the reason why his mama cry.
Oh.
Park the car, doubled back on feet, the smartest way to slide. Authorities say the lyrics matched up with an area murder that took place.
Ain't gotta be the reason he dead, we still taunt him when he died. Not the reason that he dead, so celebrate why his mama cry. Park the car, double back on feet, the smartest way to slide.
So wait, you're saying this guy in Vegas was arrested, the police matched the description of what happened in that song to what really happened in,
He rapped a confession.
These guys aren't exactly never claimed to be, Albert Einstein, do they? Some of these rappers. This has happened before, I think. We've had other previous stories where local rappers rap about their crimes and then get arrested for it.
The biggest Finn 4800.
I love your dramatic white man reading of the lyrics.
Did you want me to try to rap it? How bad would that have sound?
Do the mumble rap thing. You want to try it?
I'd be the reason why he's dead. We still taught him when he died. Not the reason he's dead, so celebrate the reason why his mama cried. Make him say,
What's the Maybe we should have Allison do the same thing.
Allison, give us a...
Can you give us a dramatic reading of the rapper?
I tried to go old school Master P with a little make him say,
Was that what it was?
I be the reason why he's dead. We still taunt him when he died, not the reason he's dead. So celebrate the reason why his mama cried.
Isn't that
so
awful?
Sad.
That is awful that he's taunting the murdered mom, the murdered guy's mom.
You're not escaping without your version either, Nige.
I'll be the reason why he's dead. We still taught him when he died, not the reason why he's dead. So celebrate the reason why mama cried. Park the car, double back on the feet. Smartest way to do. That's a beatbox. I should have had the beatbox. Allison's beatbox right there.
The cats and boots beatbox.
I was going for the mumble rap version of that.
I thought you were going for Matthew McConaughey because it sounded a little southern country.
Well, I don't know. I'm not very good.
It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
All Hoosier families want the best for their kids, but parents of children with autism face special challenges, and they're counting on Governor Eric Holcomb. Thousands of Indiana children with autism are enrolled in applied behavior analysis therapy centers. ABA centers provide a safe learning environment where parents know their children will be understood and taught lifelong skills. But the Holcomb administration has proposed deep Medicaid cuts that could force ABA centers to close. Kate is the mother of a son with autism.
As a single mom, caring for a son with autism can feel very overwhelming. Luckily, I got my son into an ABA center near our home. Since then, he's learned so many life skills to help keep him safe and give him a brighter and more independent future. It would crush our family if we were to lose this option. Governor Holcomb, you're our only hope. Please stop these devastating Medicaid cuts.
Governor Holcomb, listen to Hoosier families and ensure children with autism in Indiana get the care they deserve. Paid for by Indiana Act for Families.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979 or biglou.com.
A cancer diagnosis can come as a sudden, unexpected shock. At Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, you'll talk to an expert within 48 hours, so you can start finding the answers you need.
So me being able to see Dr. Moore so quickly, I think that helped give my mind a little bit more peace.
Your circle of support just got stronger. Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's part of his campaign. 83 degrees downtown with a few clouds. Your radar's clear. Expect a low of 63 tonight with some chances for rain. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:31. The mayor of Indianapolis may not be able to do anything when it comes to abortion, but it is a talking point for Republican mayoral candidate Jefferson Shreve's campaign.
Because the opposing side is making it a nationalized issue out of something that's just got nothing to do with the job of running the city of Indianapolis.
He tells WIBC's Tony Katz that if he's elected, he won't use city resources to prosecute abortion policy. A Hendricks County truck stop employee was arrested Saturday after police say he stabbed and killed a coworker during a fight. Police were called to the truck stop off State Road 39 South near I-70. The victim died in the hospital. Sebastian Jones was the one who was arrested. Police in Pennsylvania are expanding their search for an escaped convict.
We have moved from a containment model to one which involves utilizing a variety of investigative resources and which has proven successful for us in the past.
State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens. Danilo Cavalcante has been out of the Chester County prison for over a week. He's supposed to be serving a life sentence for murder. He's been spotted on a few security cameras, but police have yet to find him. Democrats and Republicans are remembering what happened on September 11th, 22 years ago. Fox's Kristen Goodwin reports.
Vice President Kamala Harris, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and GOP presidential candidate Florida Governor Ron DeSantis joining victims' families at Ground Zero for a 9/11 memorial ceremony. featuring mourners reading the names of the thousands killed during the attacks 22 years ago.
Peter Gerard Galinas,
Stephen Paul Geller,
Howard G. Gelling, Jr.
Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, known for his leadership in the wake of 9/11, also joining fellow former city mayor Mike Bloomberg and current mayor Eric Adams. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
And your stock report today, the Dow finishing up 87 points to 34,663. The NASDAQ up by 156 to 13,917. The S&P 500 finishing up today by 29, closing at 4,487. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:34.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown, and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indy, and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indy. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
With traffic at 4:35, here's Matt Baer.
All right, we are looking at the north side Harrison crash, westbound of 465 before Michigan Road 421. Two right lanes are blocked. Traffic stop past 31, almost to Westfield Boulevard. It's also slowing down those exit lanes from southbound 31 to 465, stop and go from 106. Northbound 465, grinding from 86 into 865, you make east, and you're going to be slowing past Michigan Road. We're rubbernecking. Looking at Lawrence, northbound 465, stop 70 to Penn Pike because of road work, down to 2 lanes until the 25th. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it at bwindow.com. And now for a limited time, get 40% off all products, a free entry door plus 20 months. No interest, no payments, trust me. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us on Twitter for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
We'll see some steady showers move through for our Monday night with lows in the mid-60s. Looking at a damp start toward Tuesday before showers turn much more spotty for Tuesday afternoon and evening. Highs only in the low 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
The Hammer and Nigel Show.
You see all those kind of HIV activists wanting some funding or something? They took over McCarthy's office there at the Capitol building. The Speaker of the House, like they walked in his office and started like chanting. It seemed pretty January 6th-ish to me, Hammer.
No, wait a minute. You're telling me they occupied his office?
Yeah.
That's an insurrection, right? Like our democracy almost tumbled, right?
I mean, they were inside the Capitol building. Not only that, but inside his office. And they were all, of course, arrested. Capitol Police hauled them off. You think they'll get 20 years in jail like some of the people on January 6th?
Let me look at my graph. Somewhere in the intersection between hell and no. That's exactly what's going to be the case with these folks in McCarthy's office.
They sent that dude from the Proud Boys to prison for better part of his life. He wasn't even at January 6th. I mean,
like, isn't that gross though? Like, listen, if you broke into the Capitol and you did something stupid, it's hard to make a case for feeling sorry for you. But these people going in there, occupying the Speaker of the House's office, like they're not supposed to be there. They're occupying it. They're not going to get the same sentence as others who were not even at the Capitol. That sucks.
Well, I mean, it's a reality we're living in. I mean, up is down, down is up. It's a bizarro world. You know, for God's sake, there were people bailing out 2020 rioters in Minnesota and in other places. There were charities set up so these people that were sent to prison or sent to jail for violent acts could get out.
Kamala was a big part of that. She was promoting the Freedom Fund. Kamala, Justin Timberlake, Steve Carell, just some of the few that were all about bailing out rioters in Minnesota, which, by the way, do a little background check on how many of those folks got rearrested for very violent offenses. We're not talking about stealing a candy bar from the gas station. No. We're talking about violent offenses. They got put back out on the street because of the sitting vice president and her friends. Top Biden spokesman John Kirby, he was doing the Sunday talk shows yesterday.
Weasel.
And remember when Joe Biden tried to fool everybody that the gas prices weren't really that bad because he dipped into the National Reserve and left it at like a dangerous level, to the point to where if a 9/11 style of attack were to happen now, our National Reserve is pretty depleted. It's a 40-year low.
Yeah.
Well, John Kirby, top Biden spokesman, says he might do it again.
Well, he'll have opportunities throughout the discussions here at the G20 to talk about a spate of economic developments around the world. He's focused on making sure that the prices continue to come down for the American consumer. That's why he has taken steps to shore up global supply, even if that means coming into the strategic reserve.
You dummies. I honestly, like, the news was way under the radar. He canceled like 7 more oil leases in Alaska. He's doing his damnedest to make us energy dependent on countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Russia, who are both kind of working together now to squeeze us even more. They've turned off the spigot, so to speak. OPEC has. And God, it's just, it's crazy to think they're dipping into the reserves again. That's what they're, to save us what, a quarter? Gas prices, I just heard it on the news. I heard Harrison Silcox mention gas prices are back up after a week of being down a little bit. But back up or back down compared to what? Pre-Joe Biden presidency.
Right. Like, comparing things year to year doesn't do anybody any justice because he was there a year ago.
Just like the homicide rate here in the city.
The same crap that Hogsett pulls. Well, homicides are down compared to last year. Oh, great. You know, a top 3 year we had, the record year of a couple years ago, you were in charge of all of it. Having a top 5 doesn't mean you get to do a victory lap, and having gas prices down year to year when you basically are the one responsible for these things being up. And I don't want to hear from Gas Guy, the president doesn't have any sort of influence on gas prices.
No, really?
All right, if that's the case, then why does Joe Biden do a victory lap when the prices go down just a little bit, but he doesn't say a damn word when they go up? And instead of letting us be oil dependent, he relies on other countries for the sake of being woke. So save that ridiculous argument. Nigel, we have a hypocrisy alert.
Oh, sound the alarm.
A hypocrisy alert. Stacey Davis Gates, president of the Chicago Teachers Union, labeled private schools a, quote, segregation academy back in 2018. Last month, she called those who supported private schools fascist. Yeah. Earlier this month, she enrolled her son in a private school.
I can only laugh. That's why these people are complete and utter hypocrites. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the tweets. What's her name? Stacey Davis Gates. The head of the Chicago Teachers Union. Quote, segregation academies, call them private schools supported by taxpayer funds, vouchers so you northern cousins understand better. The racist origins of private school vouchers. And for her to turn around and then enroll her son in a private school, Hammer, it just shows you complete lack of awareness. She said, quote, well, look, for my husband and me, it forced us to send our son after years of attending public school to a private school so he could live out his dream of playing soccer while also having a curriculum that met his needs.
Hold on, there's something in my throat. Bullcrap! Excuse me. I had to get that out. My apologies.
Dude, this is, I mean, she was forced to send her son to private school. How about all the other families and kids stuck in those failing government schools, Hammer? Shouldn't they have the same opportunity to escape? And she, at the same one breath, saying it's fascists and racist And the other, she turns around and enrolls her son in private school. These are the people we're dealing with.
The fascist academy she enrolled her son in. Okay, thanks.
I mean, parents, it doesn't matter what color you are in Chicago. Don't they have the same problems of raising their kid in an inner city? Wouldn't they love to have the chance to send their son or daughter to a private school so they can play soccer? Oh, these people, I can't wait to... We're going to have to ask Tony Kennett about this later this week. I would love to hear him go off on this idiot.
By the way, Joe Biden's speech in Alaska is already done. It was...
Ooh, that was a quickie.
Less than 10 minutes.
It was a 9/11, right? 9/11 speech?
Right, 9/11 at a base in Alaska. Less than 10 minutes. Talked about how somebody looks big and could probably help him in high school basketball.
So
made a few statements, and now he's off the stage. You said it best, though, earlier, Nige. It's probably for the greater good. When he speaks, he makes an embarrassing ass of himself. And the audio that we've got for you coming up a little bit after 5 o'clock, it's so bad. Like, even by Joe Biden standards, his trip to Vietnam was just so unbelievably bad. So, real quick, before we hit a break here, again, 9/11, it's one of those days in the American calendar everybody wants to remember and think about where they were, what was going on. Here's a little montage that some of our staff members put together.
Stuff is falling from the building right now. I can see through my high-powered binoculars a diagonal slash across the building, the right-hand side about 5 stories above this gaping 10, 15-story wide-open hole in the side of the building.
Today, we've had an actual tragedy.
Gargantuan explosion! Oh my God, I don't believe it! Looking at it, the side, the northeast corner has exploded in the most incredible explosion.
2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
Flames are flying out of the building. They're 5, 10 stories high now. Black billowing smoke. The building corner, the whole entire corner is gone.
Terrorism against our nation will not stand.
The thing that gets me is that these poor firemen that went in there, when the first on the scene, they rushed into these buildings to try and bring out the injured, and the towers collapsed on all of these men.
There are a large number of firefighters and police officers who are in harm's way, and we don't know how many we've lost.
I was sitting in the Pentagon when the attack happened. I was on the opposite side of the building. It shook the entire building. It was very clear that something terrible had happened.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
If you live in Indianapolis and have Medicare, this important message is for you. There is now high-quality complete health care available right in your neighborhood that specializes in top-quality care for older adults on Medicare at no extra cost to you. Don't wait until a new health problem gets serious. They are accepting new patients right now. The doctors take the time to get to know you, understand your personal health issues, and answer all your health questions. Plus, there's same-day appointments, on-site lab work, and a 24/7 live patient support line. And if you're on Medicare, there's no extra cost for you. Just call 800-987-2045 right now.
If I hadn't called to set that appointment, I don't know what my health would be like today. They got out in front of it and kept me out of the hospital. I can tell you that.
This outstanding care for older adults on Medicare is available at Oak Street Health, and they are accepting new patients now. Call 800-987-2045 now. It's fast and easy. And if you're on Medicare, there's no extra cost for you. Don't wait. Call 800-987-2045 right now. That's 800-987-2045. 800-987-2045.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, part of our tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience, Z Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Bring home select L Series equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, plus save up to $800 now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by McAllister Machinery and Fishers in Indianapolis to see our full line of Kubota. Visit us online at McAllisterKubota.com.
So Low T Center specializes specifically in men's wellness, and they really make it easy. You walk in, you take a simple blood test. They got an on-site lab. You'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. So if you've been tired, grumpy, notice some weight gain, loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels. Do your homework and go to the provider that you can trust. That's Low T Center.
The Low T Center really is your one-stop shop for all things men's health. Yes, they can check testosterone levels, but they can check you for certain types of cancers, thyroid issues, sleep apnea, and more. And with the Low T Center, they have physician-monitored self-inject treatments that ship directly to your home. Right now, go to lowtcenter.com and book that appointment. It's only $25 to get your T level tested. You get your results back in 25 minutes. lowtcenter.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
When you've been injured in a car wreck, there's a lot at stake. Your family, your job, your future. And the insurance company knows there's a lot at stake for them too. That's why you deserve a law firm with a proven track record of success. I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs. Reputation matters. Experience matters. You matter. When everything's at stake, Isaacs & Isaacs is here for you in Indiana.
Just click to get help quick at WeWin.com.
Mud will fly at the 42nd Annual Fall Four-Wheel Jamboree at the Indiana State Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, Friday, September 15th through Sunday, September 17th. Monster trucks, mega trucks, and Brazilian trucks will be in action, along with wild mud bog races. Smoke will fill the air, and burning rubber will greet those at the General Tire Burnout Contest. Also, check out top custom 4x4s in the Pro Judge Show and Shine Contest. Discount tickets available online at fourwheeljamboree.com.
At the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's, walking means so much more. It means fighting for a different future, for families facing the disease today, for treatments. Because when you take part in Walk to End Alzheimer's, you're not just walking, you're fighting to stop the disease. We're closer than ever, but to get there, we need you. Join us for the world's largest fundraiser to fight the disease. Register today at alz.org/walk.
The Sundown Gardens Fall Kickoff Sale continues. 50% off all concrete and glazed pottery, statues, and fountains. 20% off all trees and shrubs in stock. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Design it before you buy it. For a limited time, receive 40% off all products, plus a free entry door, and 20 months, no interest, no payment.
Trust me. Matt Baer has a look at the roads.
It's a crash north side, westbound 465 between Ditch and Michigan. Right now, two right lanes are blocked and traffic is stopped past Meridian 31 to Westfield Boulevard. Also stopping the lanes from southbound 31 to 465 back to 116th Street. Looking at Meridian Street on the north side, backed up from 71st to the White River because of construction. Lawrence northbound 465 jam before 70 up to Penn Pike because of repaving, and we are down to two lanes on that northbound side. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it at bwindow.com. And now for a limited time, get 40% off all products, a free entry door plus 20 months, no interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
81 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
Hammer and I were actually just watching this trailer for this documentary about Nickelback. I think it premieres tonight at the Toronto Film Festival or something. And you know, I've made no secret my love of Nickelback. Great song. I mean, How You Remind Me, literally, that was probably one of the first songs I ever played working at X103. Huge.
I mean, they were on the radio every 5 minutes for a little stretch there in the 2000s.
Let me just play a little bit of this Nickelback documentary. They were here a couple of weeks ago, I believe. They were just in Indy.
Radio airplay, the Nickelback.
How You Remind Me has been considered one of America's most played songs ever.
Oh, yeah.
All of that exposure triggered a reaction.
Why does everybody hate Nickelback?
Nickel bad, Nickel hack, Nickel bomb, Nickel Creed.
Nobody picks up the guitar
Nickel
to be the most hated band in the world.
They were part of cancel culture before we had a name for it.
It's kind of just like a long-running meme.
They became
So it's kind of like a thing about how people hate Nickelback. I'm dying to see this documentary. It looks great. I love rock and roll documentaries.
How did we get to the point to where Nickelback became the punchline of like every joke?
It just, they touched on it in that trailer. I mean, overexposure.
Was that all that it
guys,
was?
I mean,
because overexposure doesn't seem to bother Taylor Swift.
Well, that's a good point. I don't know. Maybe their audience aged out. Does that make sense?
Perhaps.
I don't know. I mean, Nickelback. I don't know how many people were at that Nickelback concert a few weeks ago, but I still think, they're still playing gigantic venues. And the last time I saw them was probably 10 years ago when it was like Verizon Wireless or whatever the venue out in Noblesville is called. It's Ruoff now, but I mean, there were tons of hot chicks. I mean, it was sold out. That was 10 years ago.
And you're right. It's big venues. With all due respect to the Mayoral, which is a great place to watch a show, it's a smaller crowd. Nickelback's not doing that. They're still playing Deer Creek. They're still playing major stadiums. It's just odd that band became the laughing stock, like the punchline of every joke there for a little while.
Well, I mean, I think the last laugh is on us because they're multimillionaires. It's still sell out stadiums.
You're right.
And I love a good rock doc, man. I'll have to check that out. That is called Hate to Love Nickelback. And that trailer just came out like a day or two ago. So cool.
So here's what we're going to do. In honor of this documentary where they say it kind of sucks that everybody makes fun of them, we're going to do a series of CSI jokes.
Oh, wonderful.
So this is in tribute to the old CSI open of the show where Caruso would say something witty and then you'd hear the music kick in. This is a special Nickelback jokes edition. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
I had some Nickelback tickets on the passenger seat of my car, and I popped into the store for about 5 minutes. When I came back, someone smashed my window, broke into my car, and left 2 more tickets. Doing some CSI Nickelback jokes.
Come on.
What does a brewery and a Nickelback concert have in common? They are both responsible for a lot of booze. All right, we got time for one more here?
I guess. These all hurt pretty bad.
What is the worst stage of grief? I don't know, but if it's probably the worst stage, that's where you're going to find Nickelback. There you go.
I tell you who else is probably fans of bands that are pissed right now are Pearl Jam.
Oh, that's right. They canceled the show.
We had a friend of the show, Dylan Gandy. He had people in town and like flew in. Our friends again, like the people like flew in from like North Carolina. They had people at their house. They were lined up. One of their friends had gone to Ruoff early to stand in line for merch, and they said there was already like thousands of people there. And I don't know what happened. I don't know who got ill. It must have been pretty serious if Pearl Jam. I mean, it had to have been Eddie Vedder, right? I'm just speculating.
Right.
But what a huge mess it created.
I went to the official Pearl Jam Twitter, and I noticed they've got the Ukrainian flag up there.
Yeah, wouldn't it be hilarious if they said, we are no longer performing in Indiana because of their abortion policy?
Some political excuse. Like a woke Pearl Jam all of a sudden. They don't support Ukraine enough.
Oh, wow. But yeah, my buddies, they had the kids watched for the night. They had rides lined up. They had the whole tailgate ready.
Oh, no.
And boom, canceled the snap of a finger.
The band canceled. Have you ever seen Pearl Jam live?
No. I'd love to, though. I'd really love to. I don't care about their politics as long as they shut the F up about it during the show, which I do believe they do.
Have you ever been to a show where they've talked politics?
No,
because I have.
Oh, you have? No, I haven't.
I was working. I was doing promotions for ZPL, I think, and this is back in the 90s. Counting Crows came to town, and this was, I think, when John Kerry was running for the presidency. So late 90s, early 2000s. And the lead singer, Adam Duritz, stops the show, lectures everybody on why they should vote for John Kerry, starts getting booed, and then calls us Cleveland.
He was, from what I understand, like you said, very high that night, right? He was
high as a kite.
Okay. All right, well, we're back here in just a few minutes. 93 WIBC.
The Voice of Health Minute with Dr. Robert Prather of Holistic Integration. I can think of a patient who was severely depressed, actually had been put on 3 antidepressants trying to get that under control. We did the blood work. I don't know why this wasn't picked up before, but they had hyperparathyroid, which was causing high calcium, with a very low vitamin D. As soon as we got things fixed up, no antidepressants. I had a gentleman who came in who said he was getting on an antidepressant because he was suicidal. And I said, well, that's important. Let's get you on that, but let's also work on your levator scapulus, because that's associated with the stress. Your structure affects your function, and your function affects your structure. So he became depressed, got locked into the muscles, and when we released the muscles, he was no longer suicidal. And that's why structure function is important. You have to put the two together to really get the best results.
The Voice of Health with Dr. Robert Prather, Sundays at 8 p.m. or anytime at thevoiceofhealthradio.com.
For the first time since 2014, the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is back at the racing capital of the world. It's the TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, September 15th through 17th. This sports car racing event is different than anything you've seen at IMS. The paddock is open for fans all weekend long, and this is the only IMS event where you can camp in the infield. Kids 15 and under are free with a paid adult. Get your tickets now at IMS.com.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close, or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
Coming up in 2 minutes, why Jefferson Shreve is sticking with his public safety plan, and IU football has named a starting quarterback. All that and more coming up after Fox News Radio from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
The president marks 9/11 in Alaska. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. He's at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, speaking a short time ago to service members, first responders, and family members.
I join you on this solemn day to renew our sacred vow. Never forget. Never forget. We never forget.
He says when faced with evil, America endured, and that the terrorists couldn't touch the soul of America. President Biden stopping in Alaska on his way back to the White House from an overseas trip. Senator and presidential hopeful Tim Scott says the president's schedule should have been adjusted.
The president should have left early enough to have been there at the Pentagon talking about American exceptionalism and why America continued to provide opportunities and to be the beacon of light.
First Lady Jill Biden laying a wreath at the Pentagon. Another Republican candidate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, was among the many at New York's annual ceremony as victims' families spent hours reading 2,977 names.
And my wife, Deborah Kaplan. Debbie, we love you and miss you.
Vice President Kamala Harris was also at Ground Zero. Her husband, the second gentleman, visiting the memorial site near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. MGM Resorts appears to be under a cyber attack. The company posting a statement about a cybersecurity issue recently identified and affecting some of the company's systems.
Now, they are dealing with this as quickly as they can, they say, but the anecdotal evidence that we are hearing is that this is causing major problems.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt. MGM has multiple properties in Las Vegas alone, including thousands of hotel rooms. Customers reportedly having trouble getting into their rooms because of the hack, with reservation systems affected, and MGM staff having to manually check people in and out. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What he wants to do. 82 degrees and cloudy downtown. Nothing on your radar. You've got a low of 63 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. Republican mayoral candidate Jefferson Shreve says his first priority as mayor of Indianapolis is to hire a public safety officer.
I'm not a former cop. I'm not a former firefighter. I don't hold myself out as the expert there. I'm the executive. I mean, I've got the managerial experience. And my aim is to stand up the team of talent, that executive talent that can get it done on all fronts.
Talking to WIBC's Tony Katz, Shreve has a debate with current Mayor Joe Hogsett next month. A couple was killed in a crash in Howard County Sunday. Donnie Burgess has the story.
It was 5:45 Sunday evening when a red Chevy Impala driven by Cole Bird crashed into a golf cart driven by Richard and Elaine Calloway. Howard County Sheriff's deputies showed up to Tooby Pike to find Richard Calloway, 83 years old, had already died. Elaine Calloway was flown to the hospital, where she also died at the age of 75. Cole Bird is in the hospital and had to do a blood draw. For now, police aren't sure how the crash happened. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
There was a fatal crash this morning in the west side of Indy.
A vehicle on the westbound side lost the rear driver's side tire, came off the vehicle while they were driving. That tire jumped over the center median wall and hit a small SUV.
State Police Sergeant John Perrine. That SUV was hit and knocked off the road and crashed into a fence. The driver was killed. And the Indiana Hoosier football team has been playing 2 quarterbacks so far this season, but today a full-time starter was announced.
Taven Jackson is going to be our starting quarterback, and excited for the opportunity for him, and excited for Brandon to be able to be in this role, and together they're going to help us do great things in 2023.
Head coach Tom Allen says Brendan Sorsby will be the backup. Both are redshirt freshmen. The Hoosiers play Louisville this Saturday at Lucas Oil Stadium. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, above your eyes, below your eyes, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor, you've visited urgent care over and over again, and it's always the same thing. Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and nasal sprays. But the sinus infections keep coming back. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of Indianapolis Sinus Center called balloon sinuplasty. Imagine the relief of not having to deal with your sinus infections anymore. Set an appointment today with Indianapolis Sinus Center and find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Call 317-528-9650. 317-528-9650. That's 317-528-9650.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05. How's it going, Matt Bear?
Harrison, we're having a difficult rush hour with the crash westbound 465 after Ditch Road is blocking 2 right lanes, stopping traffic almost to Westfield Boulevard. Delay time right now, 37 minutes from the back of the line. Also stopped traffic exiting from southbound 31 to 465 because of that crash. Lawrence northbound 465 stopping go before 70 up to Penn Pike because of repaving. We are down to 2 lanes. Also looking at westbound 465 at Keystone Avenue. This is a medical emergency on the on-ramp, and the ramp is open partially blocked 5 o'clock Monday night. It's going to back up all right. Traffic sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Whether you need a holiday job or extra staff with a seasonal, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Visit ExpressPros.com, your connection for holiday hiring. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
We'll see some steady showers move through for our Monday night with lows in the mid-60s. Looking at a damp start to our Tuesday before showers turn much more spotty for Tuesday afternoon and evening. Highs only in the low 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos? So let's rock it!
Joe Biden embarrassing himself on the world stage, Hammer, and we were talking off the air about this. This was low even by Biden standards, right? This was he. I don't even know what he was doing in Vietnam, trying to improve relations between the two countries. Whatever. It was an abject disaster.
If you think Joe Biden's cognitive ability is at the bottom of the barrel, this trip to Vietnam proved if you lift up and look underneath the barrel, you can find a whole new level of embarrassment. I mean, this was humiliating. The rest of the world saw this, and they're either laughing at us,
yes,
or worse, maybe they're plotting.
Yeah.
To get at us in the next year or so before the next presidential election. I mean, think about this. If you're somebody that's not a big fan of the United States, you're looking at what we're doing right now. We're passing out free money to Ukraine. We're being soft to China. You've got a compromised president. Why wouldn't you try something shady against the U.S. right now? So
where do we start?
Let's start with something we've seen before from Joe Biden. He's not capable of handling questions being yelled at him. So he has to get out a pre-approved list. And then he says he's following orders.
Now I will take your questions. Let me see. They told me they gave me 5 people here.
Who's they?
Let's see. I'm just following my orders here.
Oh.
Whose orders?
Are they?
Whose orders? You're the commander-in-chief.
You're the boss.
Could you imagine somebody telling Donald Trump, these are the people you're going to call upon?
No.
Or even Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. No. This guy is so feeble and weak, he has to follow orders and have a pre-approved list of questions. So that's just getting the party started here. How about this plan of a multi-billion-dollar railroad across Africa?
For example, one of the things we're doing in terms of, I proposed a long time ago at the G7, now it's going to come to fruition at the G20, is making sure that we build a railroad all the way across the African continent.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Why the hell not?
Well, I mean, AOC, maybe he stole the idea from AOC. She wanted to build a railroad across the Atlantic.
That's right, the whole ocean. All the way, laying railroad line across the Atlantic.
Why are we worried about railroads in Africa?
Well, that's a good question, Nige. I would like to ask Joe Biden that question, but I'm not one of the 5 people that's been pre-approved that he has to call upon. This was a just nonsensical story about John Wayne.
My brother loves having, there's famous lines from movies that he always quotes. And one of them is there's a movie about John Wayne. He's an Indian scout, and they're trying to get I think there's a patch of one of the great tribes of America back on the reservation.
I can't deal with this.
So they're all on their horses and their saddles. And there's 3 or 4 Indians in headdresses.
This is a great story.
And the Union soldiers basically saying, the Indians, come with me, we'll take care of you, everything will be good. And the Indian looks at John Wayne and points to the Union soldier and says, he's a lion, dog-faced pony soldier. Well, there's a lot of lion, dog-faced pony soldiers out there about global warming.
Huh?
What in the hell was that? We got a lion, dog-faced pony soldier. We got a couple of
Rob Kendall described it best when he was talking about there was a character on Crank Anchors with Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel where one of the crank calls was like just a doddering old fool, old man that would call people up and start rambling just to see how long they could take the other end of the person on the other end of the line would stay on the phone. Right. That's Joe Biden.
That's it. That's exactly
just a rambling
what it was.
old man. Everybody just kind of looking around like, what the F is he talking about?
So as bad as those 3 sound bites were.
Those were bad.
This is all part of the same speech, mind you. My favorite, my absolute favorite, the chef's kiss, the cherry on top of the sundae, is when he said he had to go to bed and sit there and gave a blank stare with his mouth open.
He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
She's just staring. Being a goon.
Now, look, in his defense, Vietnam, the time change is brutal. It's like 18 hours or something like that. But to tell the world on the world stage, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. It's a bad look for the president. Wouldn't you say?
It was so bad, Nige, that Corinne Jean-Pierre had to actually cut him off while he was trying to answer a question to end this thing.
It wasn't confrontational at all.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Wow.
And the music plays him off.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen that before in the history of politics. The White House press secretary interrupting the president of the United States as he's answering a question.
How do you, again, not to keep going back to this, but how do you think Donald Trump would respond if Kayleigh McEnany said, hey, that's enough?
Oh, wow. It might get physical.
Like, even NBC is at the point to where they have to call this out.
For the Democrats, the issue, of course, is Biden's age.
In a CNN poll this week, nearly 7 in 10 Democrats said the party should nominate, quote, a different candidate than Joe Biden. And it was the biggest concern among 49% of all Democrats. The biggest concern was Biden's age. Overall, just 28% of Americans say Biden inspires confidence.
28% inspires confidence. 28%.
Who are these 28%? Did you not just hear or see any of the clips we got done playing?
I know one of them. It's Gavin Newsom, because Gavin did an interview where he said the last 2.5 years has been a masterclass.
I'm very inspired by the masterclass in the last 2.5 years. And I mean it. I mean, masterclass in terms of delivering results. And the results are demonstrable. The question you're asking is the challenging one, is how do we mind the gap between performance, the substance and the results, and that perception?
A masterclass. Gavin Newsom says the last 2.5 years under Joe Biden has been a masterclass.
But I'm going to go to bed.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
But I'm going to go to bed.
The rest of the world saw that. They saw the leader of the free world shuffle up there, stare with his mouth open, and say,
but I'm going to go to bed.
Unbelievable. All right, Matt Baer, what's going on?
All right, Hammer north side, westbound to 465. It is a crash between Ditch Road and Michigan Road. Right now, 2 right lanes are blocked. Traffic's a mess in those westbound lanes. Stop past 31 to Westfield Boulevard. Southbound 31 also grinding into lines 2 of 465 right now because of the crash. Northbound 465, Lawrence, stop traffic from 72 Penn Pike because of the construction. Southbound lane stop and go 70 down to Arlington. And eastbound 465 Southside now jammed from South Meridian Street to 65. Traffic sponsored by Freegee and Freegee Auctioneers. Freegee and Freegee Auctioneers invite you to the annual Fall Big Boy Toy Auction on September 16th in Clayton. Bid your way live, on site, or online at buyfreegee.com. License AC 312000002. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
81 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
All right, so I'm an American Standard customer. I had an American Standard air conditioning unit installed, and boy, it worked like a charm. This, especially how hot the summer was this year, and nothing to worry about with American Standard. You don't have to worry about your heating and cooling, and if you need American Standard service, Hammer's going to tell you who you need to check out.
Big Nige, how about Family Heating and Air? The Morris family and their staff ready to help you out this fall. You could call Rachel, Marcus, or Malia today. Make sure your furnace is safe and ready for the chilly weather that comes with fall in Indiana. Family Heating and Air always encourages you to call them for a free second opinion if you've already got a quote from another company. If that quote doesn't look right, call Family. Nobody takes care of you like Family. 577-8077. Family Heating and Air, 577-8077. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you. American Standard Heating and Air, built to a higher standard.
While interest rates are skyrocketing everywhere else, Diamonds Direct comes to the rescue. Now for a limited time, get 0% interest for 5 years on anything and everything. Now through October 1st, you get Diamonds Direct's incredible value price and spread your payments over 5 years with an unheard of interest rate of 0.0%. Nothing's held back. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets. At a time when you need it most, Diamonds Direct steps up for the best offer in the nation. Don't miss it. Get details, showroom hours, and more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. On approved credit.
Dorsey Plumbing. Our knowledgeable, friendly technicians can install a brand new sub pump to keep your home dry and protected year-round. Call us at 463-255-7619 and enjoy a limited-time offer of $55 off your new pump. That's 463-255-7619. Don't cry about your plumbing problems. Call today, fix today is the Justin Dorsey Plumbing way.
Reach your savings goals. Busey Bank's CD specials can help. Watch your money grow with competitive rates and offers. Visit busey.com/CD rates. Visit your local service center or call 1-800-67-BUSEY today. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868.
Jewelers in Brownsburg is your place for fine jewelry, custom pieces, one-of-a-kind pieces, vintage pieces, and also your place to sell jewelry. 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms. You have old jewelry from grandma or jewelry you don't wear anymore? Come sell it for top dollar at PA Jewelers. I've sold jewelry there. My wife has. You're going to love the prices. PA Jewelers inside Premier Arms, 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg, premierarms.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Wrights, former Colts offensive lineman.
And I'm Jill Wrights. Traumatic brain injury is so sad and so life-changing.
That's why we support a groundbreaking organization building a better future for adults living with a TBI.
Vilici was founded right here in Indiana, but what we are doing will affect families around the country, families struggling to support and lift up their loved one after a life-changing head injury.
Go to braininjury.me, that's braininjury.me.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. When a restaurant closes, my reaction is, that sucks. They had good steak. When regional banks close, or 3 of them close overnight, it freaks me out. This is why I have my own personal gold reserve. It's part of my personal protection plan. Call my friends at Oxford Gold Group. Call 833-404-GOLD. 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's fall nursery headquarters.
The Hammer and Nigel Show. My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer right over there with a special guest on the 93 WIBC hotline.
Nobody covers the Colts better than Kevin Bowen from 107.5 The Fan, part of the wake-up call with KB and Andy. So, KB, let's ask the million-dollar question. What did you think of the 4th pick in the NFL draft, Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, I thought it was a nice debut. I mean, there's certainly a ton of context with Richardson. I don't know if people fully understand just how unique this situation is for a guy to have as lack of an experience situation as he did in college to be entering the NFL at such a young age. I thought there were moments in the first half where I'm like, oh, my God, is this going to be a debut to remember and a very methodical passing in the game. I didn't think there were any moments too big for him early on. I mean, not like pre-snap penalties or, disastrous turnovers, but I did find it interesting that, as soon as they tied the game early third quarter and then eventually Jacksonville, or actually the Colts took the lead thanks to the defensive touchdown, it was almost like, oh my gosh, are we expected to win this game? Has this turned from feel-good debut story to, oh wow, the Colts could really win this game and finally get that season-opening victory? And I felt like that's when things turned for Richardson, and he looked like a 21-year-old quarterback. But having said that, I just think there's a ton of lack of support around him. He's having to do way too much heavy lifting for this offense right now, and that is disappointing to see.
Well, I had fun watching the game. I liked watching Anthony Richardson. I was screaming at him to run an awful lot. I think the fans enjoy. I mean, it was a heartbreaking loss.
I was screaming at him to slide an awful lot.
Slide. That harkens back to Andrew Luck days. Oh my gosh, forgot about that. Overall, just what did you think of the game? I mean, what grade? I know this is kind of a generic question. What kind of grade would you give the Colts as a whole yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, Nigel, we're obviously grading on a curve for all the reasons that I just mentioned. But, how do you not walk away from yesterday, and I think you just said it, and feel infinitely more encouraged than you did after last year's season opener, a tie in Houston, or hell, the last time we saw the Colts when, Parks Frazier was calling the plays, and it was the corpse of Matt Ryan and the corpse of Nick Foles playing quarterback for you. So certainly, I think you have to feel better. I mean, you're going to hand out a grade as much as a solid B you could give after a loss. I think it's fair. At the same time, I think naturally there are some Colts fans that are bummed because you were leading with midway through the fourth quarter. Or, had a 4-point lead. Your defense was playing great. And really, not to get too technical, but I thought everything turned on that big punt return where the Colts just kind of lost track of what was going on there for a split second. And boom, Jacksonville gets a 50-yard return. And that was the jolt that they needed there. But yes, it is a more entertaining product. I think you're finally approaching things from a modern standpoint, and I think you have to be encouraged moving forward about the direction you're going at the most important position in sports.
All right, so now that we've all sang Kumbaya and we talked about how positive an experience this is, let me be Debbie Downer here for a second, KB. What was more disappointing, the run game, which I believe was like averaging 1 yard per carry, the offensive line play, or the lack of even trying to throw the ball down the field?
Boy, I could slice up that pie pretty evenly. I mean, I was disappointed in that you didn't take any more deep shots down the field, or really any deep shots, period, because that's where Richardson's strength is as a passer. It is the shots down the field, and you need that because albeit he was, decently efficient yesterday, that's not really his game. His game is not this methodical, consistent passer. He's supposed to sprinkle in the home runs to offset a few of the strikeouts. As far as the run game is concerned, I mean, I tweeted it out during the middle of the third quarter. Jonathan Taylor's agent had to be watching that game, naked, looking at the lack of the Colts run game and picturing all of the leverage that he could be creating. I don't say this lightly, guys, and I think you guys know that I don't speak in hyperbole just to do it. Yesterday was arguably the worst game I've seen in a Colts uniform out of running back Deion Jackson. He had 13 carries for 14 yards. That is 1.1 yard per carry in the 40-year history of the Indianapolis Colts. It's the second worst rushing output in Indy Colt franchise history. On top of that, he had 2 fumbles and a critical drop in the second half when you were at midfield and had a chance to potentially add to the score. So if that's the message the Colts are sending, as here's our starting running back, Deion Jackson, Jonathan Taylor's agent has to be foaming at the mouth.
So let's talk about Jonathan Taylor. He's on the PUP list, can't do anything until week 4. But the Ravens lost their starting running back yesterday. So if the Ravens were to call, you probably know better than anybody, KB, would Jim Irsay be in a hurry to help the city of Baltimore in any way if a trade presented itself?
Gosh, that is a great question. I mean, there have been some Colt, Raven interactions here over that past 10 or 15 years. I like to think that 40 years has passed. But I'm sure there are some Baltimore Ravens season ticket holders that would have a gripe or two on that. I know this sounds bad, guys, but I mean, if you're a Colts fan or I guess even if you are of the thinking the Colts and Jonathan Taylor do not have a future together, you need to cheer for running back injuries. I know that sounds really bad, but a J.K. Dobbins injury like you just brought up, Hammer, that's a big deal to a team in Baltimore that has kind of always had a revolving door of running backs with Lamar Jackson. Do they view Taylor as a guy that could get them over the hump? They don't have an abundance of draft picks. They aren't in a great cap situation, but they've always been a franchise that I think has, kind of pushed their chips into the middle of the table a little bit more than not. I am curious yesterday, what does that do? I mean, maybe Zach Moss comes back this week. He wasn't fully cleared from that broken arm just yet. Do the Colts go out and make a veteran running back room? Taylor's not coming back for at least 3 more games. So, is this the song and dance that you're going to play? Evan Hull, the rookie out of Northwestern who got in briefly, he injured his knee. So something I feel like has got to happen at running back, even non-Taylor affiliated here this week or very soon, or else, this is the operation that you're going to have through the first 4 weeks of the season.
Kevin Bowen, 107.5 The Fan here, talking about the Colts' loss yesterday to Jacksonville Jaguars. Saw some highlights, did see some lowlights, questionable play calling at the end of the game. What did you think of what you saw at the end of the game there? Should they have gone for a field goal and then did an onside kick instead of just running the clock out and trying to score? What did you think about the play calling yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I will raise my hand. I didn't have the Colts plus 7.5 on the betting line, so I didn't really care too much about the end of the game. I know some people were clamoring for a field goal there to make the score from 10-7.
What are you trying to say, KB? You calling me out? Is that what's happening here? You passive-aggressive son of a...
Yeah, that was the most passive-aggressive thing that I've ever said. At some point, you need 2 scores, and I think Shane Steichen's thinking there is we are decently close to a touchdown. They were moving the ball pretty easily against Jacksonville. It was like, okay, we kind of got them on their heels. Let's score the touchdown and then kick the 55-yard field goal versus kick the 35-yard field goal and then have to still get a touchdown after that. I mean, I can listen to the debate on both sides. Certainly when Richardson continues to take the hits that he did, that obviously offers some hindsight 2020. And I do think bigger picture, guys, that is something we're just going to have to watch all year with him. I mean, he got injured on his first ever NFL run. He got hurt on that 11-yard gain early in the first quarter, suffered a bone bruise on his left knee, played through it. Sounded like there might have been an aggravation there late in the game. So I think that'll be something to watch. And just that gray area. Does he run? How much does he run? Does he slide? To the point you guys brought up earlier, that's something we're going to have to deal with this kind of new age at quarterback.
Got about 30 seconds left here, KB. The Colts had a new coach this year, Steichen. Now, all the attention's been on, the new quarterback, the Jonathan Taylor situation. But what do you think about the new coach? What did you see yesterday?
Yeah, a few things I didn't love. I didn't love the lack of dialing up deep shots for Richardson. I don't know if the injury played into this, but I thought they got away from running him a little bit more once, again, they tied the game up in the third quarter there, and eventually took the lead. You had a really big lull for the offense. They were terrible on third down and fourth down. I put some of that on the play caller as well. So those are areas that you want certainly him to be better at. I did think just modern-wise, there's a lot of things offensively that just is super unique, and I think the Colts have to tap into that. But I don't think it's too shocking to see in the NFL yesterday the 5 new head coaches, all 5 of them lost. So probably a little bit to be expected.
The wake-up call with KB and Andy, 7 to 10 on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Kevin Bowen, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, coming up next, we've got the lovely and talented Daisy from the Chicks on the Right program. We're going to get her thoughts on whatever that was Joe Biden was trying to do in Vietnam. That's coming up right now. We'll take a look at the news.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's been over 2 decades. 82 degrees and sunny in downtown Indianapolis. All clear with a radar low of 63 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:29. 22 years ago was a day Americans say they'll never forget.
I'm Ryan Hedrick, and that goes for Hoosiers, too. This weekend, Indiana State ROTC students climbed dozens of flights of stairs in honor of those who died on 9/11. And that is the sound of the North Tower collapsing. This morning, a man named James Clark was on the 465 overpass waving an American flag to honking motorists in New York City.
Sand.
The sound of loved ones reading the names of those who died on September 11th, 2001. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Congressional leaders are paying their respects to those who lost their lives on 9/11.
This is one day of the year that, for me, will always embody what is most admirable and most enduring about the human spirit.
While speaking on the Senate floor, New York Democrat Chuck Schumer said he'll never forget the scenes from that day 22 years ago. Pennsylvania State Police are still looking for escaped convict Danilo Cavalcante. They say over the weekend he stole a delivery van and drove it to the home of a few people he used to know in Phoenixville.
These people had not, to my knowledge, had any contact with Cavalcante for years. So they were not friends. They were prior work associates, for example, and they were not people that we would have expected or that we would have known even to contact.
Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens, his sister, is being detained by immigration authorities for overstaying her visa. Police say she's not helping her brother avoid the cops. And Republican mayoral candidate Jefferson Shreve says his first priority as mayor of Indianapolis is to hire a public safety officer.
I'm not a former cop. I'm not a former firefighter. I don't hold myself out as the expert there. I'm the executive. I mean, I've got the managerial experience, and my aim is to stand up the team of talent, that executive talent that can get it done on all fronts.
Talking to WIBC's Tony Katz, Shreve will debate Mayor Joe Hogsett October 23rd. And with traffic at 5:31, here's Matt Baer.
North side, Harrison crash westbound 465 before Michigan Road. It's blocking 2 right lanes, and traffic is stopped past US 31 Meridian to Westfield Boulevard. This is also backing up 31 on the southbound side. In the exit lanes to 465, all because of that crash. Now, northbound 465 stopped at 86th Street up to 865. You make it east, and we're stop and go out to and past Michigan Road because of the earlier crash in Rubbernecking. Lawrence northbound 465 stop traffic 70 up to Penn Pike. That's a construction zone. Traffic sponsored by Bob Evans Restaurants. There's a big flavor headed your way. Try Bob Evans' new Rancher Barbecue Beef for a limited time only. So come on in for dinner at Bob Evans. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
We'll see some steady showers move through for our Monday night with lows in the mid-60s. Looking at a damp start toward Tuesday before showers turn much more spotty for Tuesday afternoon and evening. Highs only in the low 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
My name is Nigel. That's Jason Hammer right over there with a very special guest on the 93 WIBC hotline.
She is one half of the Chicks on the Right. Daisy joins us. And Daisy, Joe Biden's speech in Vietnam, even by Joe Biden standards, which is pretty low, was one of the most embarrassing things that I have seen in a long time. Hell, at one point, Daisy, he says he wants to go to bed. So I'm curious as to your thoughts. Am I just overreacting here, or have we reached rock bottom?
I think you're totally overreacting, Jason. I've decided that I'm going to run for president in 2056. I'm announcing it today on your show. I'm going to be in 2056. I'm going to be 85 years old. I'm going to be in my slacks and comfortable shoes era. My eating at cafeterias at 3 p.m. era. And I'm going to be blind by that point because I'm already going blind. I mean, I barely can see now. I'm going to have like severe osteoporosis. Everything's going to be breaking. But listen, it's like that's the prime time to run for president is at 85, right? This is what we've learned. Like, it's like no one's going to like resist. I mean, this is people are going to say, because Nancy Pelosi's running again we learned that she's going to be running again for her. I mean, it's like no one bats an eye at this. This is if the older you get, the more qualified you are, because this is what Joe Biden says to us. He says, I'm wise, right? I mean, like when you get older, you become wiser. This is what he says. This is what they're spinning. They're spinning it as he's wiser now. So I've decided I'm going to run for president in 2056.
Well, I won't be alive then, but I'll vote for you posthumously.
Well, I think you should stay alive just so you can be my campaign manager. I expect you to
register as a Democrat, Nigel. Your vote will still count. But Daisy, there are two different things going on here. Yes, Joe Biden is old and decrepit and should not be anywhere near the Oval Office or the national stage. But at the same time, as a country, we have to move on. And the rest of the world saw that. Everybody watched Joe Biden go up there and say, I have to call on these certain reporters or I will get yelled at. And then he says he wants to go to bed. And then they cut off his press conference when he's still trying to talk to one of the pre-approved questions. The rest of the world sees this. We're in trouble. Because if
we're in trouble.
Any one of these world leaders, they realize, well, we got about a year until the next presidential election. If we want to get over on the U.S., man, buckle up because this next year is going to be interesting.
Oh my God, it's awful. Listen, I mean, at least a lot of us who can think critically know that he's not the one running the country anyway, right? There's like somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings, or like a bunch of people, a gaggle of people who are pulling the strings. And so I think that's proof, because he's like, I'm taking orders from somebody who's telling me this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's proof right there that somebody else is pulling the strings, or like a group of people are. And then on top of that, yeah, you're right. Like the rest of the world is looking at this guy and they're like, he's weak. So we all look weak. And I don't know how Democrats defend this. I don't. You even have like Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks dude. He's like making comments over the weekend. He was like, this is just, it's embarrassing. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he was talking about how this is just embarrassing and we can't outrun this guy again. So even they're recognizing that like this is a joke. They're going to have to put somebody else in his spot. They cannot run. He cannot do this for 4 more years. He can't do it now, let alone for 4 more years. I mean, how old is he going to be? He's going to be what, like 86, 87? By the time it's like, it's not at this point. It's like, listen, even there, I'm sure that there are 80-year-olds who are cognitively better off than he is.
My grandma's 89, and she sure as hell is.
Right. And I'm sure there are, but like, do you really want to be running you want to be in charge of the free world? I mean, you really want to be the guy running or the woman running the United States of America? You want to be that person at 80 something years old? I mean, do you guys want to do that? I don't want to do that at my 80s.
I mean, we talked about this last week because we had a story that the Rolling Stones are putting out new music. Mick Jagger is 80 right now. He's 80. He looks like $1 million. He's up there dancing. He's cognitive. He can do interviews. He can entertain people. Joe Biden told the world at a meeting he wants to go to bed.
Yeah. And remember he walked out of he walked out of it was like the Medal of Honor recipient ceremony.
Yeah, for the Vietnam the helicopter pilot. And just that was so embarrassing and so cringeworthy and disrespectful.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he crapped his pants. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
You know, the funny thing we always talk about on the show is that when Democrats do criticize Joe Biden, it's not for his policies. It's not for the southern border. It's not for the economy. It's not for foreign policy. It's like it's his age. It's always his age. And I do find that fascinating that they want this guy out of there, but they always blame the age. Hell, even CNN reported on how KJP interrupted Joe Biden during that press conference in Vietnam. And I've never seen anything like that before. There's a whole litany. There's a whole list of things. Joe Biden's age is probably 8th on that list with problems with this president.
Yeah, that's a great point because he's running the country into the ground. And then he signed that. What was it? He put on Twitter last week something about shutting down the Alaskan pipeline stuff. Like our gas prices are about to skyrocket again. I mean, that's also
seven different leases, I believe, he shut down.
Yeah. And so people, I mean, that's in the background. So you see all this fumbling and bumbling that he's doing on the world stage, and people are kind of distracted when they see that. They see how old he is and how embarrassing he is and what just a disgrace he is from just a public display standpoint. And then you look at everything that he's doing just to destroy this country when it comes to just economic policy and national security policy. All the policies that just suck.
Immigration.
That are coming out of this.
Right. And on the subject of immigration, Daisy, now, because you live in Texas, so I'm fascinated to hear your perspective on this. You've got New York City, sanctuary city, their mayor, Eric Adams, all of a sudden is complaining that there's too many folks coming to his sanctuary city. You live in Texas, Daisy, so I'm curious as to your thoughts on what you're hearing from New York politicians.
I have to keep it clean, right? I have to keep my thoughts clean because we're on radio and I'm not on a podcast. Okay, so my thoughts are, welcome to the party, pal. Yep. Can you even believe this guy? I want to say all the words, and I'm not the only one here in Texas. I just can't believe what a hypocrite this guy is. Where he was saying all these years and calling people like me, racist and xenophobic for wanting people to follow the laws of the land to come over here legally, and when they come over illegally, he was saying things like, "Oh, come on in. We'll welcome you. We're a sanctuary city. Come on in." It's like, and I don't know why people like DeSantis and people, who want these folks to follow the laws are just so awful. We're terrible people. This is what he said about people like me who wanted people to follow the law, the rule of law. And now, man, he's changed his tune. And why is that? Because migrants are in his backyard. And now he's changed his tune completely because it is affecting him. And that's what these yahoos do. When a migrant is right there in front of his face and in his backyard and in his home, he doesn't want them. And that's what these people do. That's what these liberals do. And you know what? He is a giant hypocrite. And when he's faced with that, label of hypocrisy, he'll say, "Oh, no, I'm not a hypocrite at all. I'm not." But he is. He's the very definition of hypocrite.
And not only that, but his excuse is, New York City, we don't have enough room for these. It's like 100,000. Like, what does he think with all the money and the infrastructure and the space in New York, and he's saying he can't handle 100,000 extra people? What does he think is going on in these border towns for years and years under a Biden presidency with people flowing over the border?
Exactly. I mean, towns have been ruined, overtaken. I mean, this is what, and the thing is, people like, Governor Abbott, people have been talking about this, like you said, for years. We've been saying, these towns are overrun, these cities are overrun, and look at the influx of people that have come into our state alone. And he's just like, oh my gosh, they're xenophobes, they're racist. He's called us all the names and said all the things, and he's talked about how horrible we are for not allowing that. And I mean, it's unreal. But there again, I mean, I think this goes for a lot of policies that liberals put in place, that they will say that other people are terrible for not wanting those policies until those policies affect them. And that goes for immigration. It goes for crime. It goes for all these things. It's kind of like the people who say defund the police. But then when those people are affected by violent crime, they're like, well, wait a second. I don't understand why I got mugged. Well, you got mugged because you defunded the police, you moron. And then when crime affects them, then all of a sudden they're like, well, where are the police? I don't understand, with their, thumbs up their butts.
Daisy from the Chicks on the Right with us. Last thing before we let you go here. Some places, return of the mask. Mask mandates coming back to some places, including some schools. I'm curious as to your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I didn't really mask the first time, so I'm going to be one of those do not comply people. It's so funny how they're trying to spin this, and they're already parading Fauci on TV again. I cannot believe this guy.
Are people buying his act though this time around? Are there people that bought his act the first time buying it again? Is there anybody that's got buyer's remorse, or has the Church of Fauci, Dr. Anthony Fauci, been established and he can do no wrong?
I think there are still some people that still love him. They still pray at the altar of Fauci. I think there are still a few. You still have don't you all still see some of those people that are in their cars with masks? I mean, there's still a select few that are still doing that. And if you get on Twitter, you can still see that there are people who are, I haven't left my house in 3 years. There's still some of them.
Daisy, there is a house down in Zionsville Village with a sign outside of it that said, "Thank you, Dr. Fauci." I walked past it a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, they walk amongst us, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they walk amongst us, but they still have their N95s on. That's for sure. But so they're still out there, and they still believe in all this stuff. And so, but I do think that if they start doing the lockdowns, because the timing's very interesting. Of course, we're coming up on an election, and so I do find it interesting that all the stuff is starting. The narrative's getting out there at a very just interesting time, and so they're starting to push it out there. And I do think that if they start, instituting lockdowns and all that kind of stuff, I don't think people will comply. I do think there's going to be like revolt. I think that people will be like, I'm not going to do this again, because people saw it, and there's a lot of people who are going to think critically this time instead of just mindlessly nodding their heads in agreement with the government. They're not going to do it.
She is one half of the Chicks on the Right. Check them out, chicksontheright.com. The show, the website, the articles, the whole shebang. Daisy, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
We have got a very topical selection for Moonshine Monday coming up.
Awesome. Let's do it. Moonshine Monday next on the Hammer and Nigel Show. Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation, baby. I have Window Nation windows. They saved me a ton on my energy bills. They look great. My neighbors were kind of jealous that I got Window Nation windows. They called Window Nation. They got new windows installed as well. And when it comes to new windows, Window Nation's always giving you more. More windows you buy, the more you save. Up to 50% off, plus a lot more. Nothing for 2 full years. It's another amazing deal on windows that deliver more for your home. Energy savings, more value, features, options, more beauty. Window Nation's got it all.
How about this for a deal? 0 money down, 0 payments, 0 interest for 2 years. And if that's not enough, that is on top of the existing deal where you get 50% off of any style of window. Bow, bay, double hung, you name it. You're going to save thousands of dollars on your new windows. Your energy bills will go lower because these windows are energy efficient. Call Window Nation right now, 866-90-NATION, or go to windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
QC Kinetics is not exaggerating when they say this. QC Kinetics can change your life. You can live again without chronic joint pain and without drugs or surgery. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them right into your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue that's causing all of that horrible pain. And unlike surgery, there's no downtime with QC treatments. If you have constant pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back, you need to call and get a free consultation from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics today. Call QC Kinetics and see how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack your pain and bring you lasting relief. Call QC Kinetics right now. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics is in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN.
Don't you love fall in Indy, but you hate the paint? Well, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
No paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Being diagnosed with cancer doesn't mean facing it alone. At Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, we follow a multidisciplinary approach, bringing together specialists in every area of cancer care.
And if it wasn't for that team, I wouldn't be here. They put the right plan together and made it work. And I'm so grateful.
Your circle of support just got stronger. Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
Freegee and Freegee Auctioneers invite you to the annual Big Boy Toy Auction on September 16th in Clayton. Bid your way live on-site or online at buyfreegee.com. License AC312-00002.
Sundown Gardens Fall Nursery Shipment is here and the products look outstanding. Visit them this fall for all nursery, pumpkins, gourds, decor, and mum needs. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Baird Traffic.
Backups are already starting.
On 93 WIBC.
Matt Baer has a look at the roads.
North side, Hammer, westbound 465 stopped after Westfield Boulevard over to Michigan Road. At least close to it. It is a crash blocking two right lanes, stopping traffic, stopping the exit lanes from southbound 31 to 465. The whole area is a mess. Eastbound 465, stop and go 865 over to the crash site after Michigan Road. Lawrence, northbound 465, construction delay, stopping traffic from 72 Penn Pike. Crash Hancock County, eastbound 70, about 4 miles after Mount Comfort Road, blocking the right lane. And then on the south side, eastbound 465, barely moving from Harding over to South Keystone Avenue. Traffic sponsored by B Window. Design it before you buy it at bwindow.com. And now for a limited time, get 40% off all products, a free entry door plus 20 months. No interest, no payments. Trust me. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
81 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center at 93 WIBC.
And it takes me back to a simpler place in time.
Moonshine Mondays. Let the moon shine. I'm Nigel. That's Hammer. Somebody dropped off a couple of weeks ago just giant boxes of this moonshine.
Yes,
And
different flavors.
But it's all from the same distillery, right?
Yeah, Sugarland Shine in God's country of Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
And you've been there. You've been to the that actual distillery, right?
I have. I've done the sampling multiple times.
Let's
Very
do some
good.
sampling right now, damn it.
All right, so this Saturday night, if you're a race fan, it's the Bristol Night Race in NASCAR.
Yeah.
One of the better races on the schedule.
Because it's a short track, right? I mean, it's a short oval, a lot of action, and underneath the lights.
So look what I got for you, my friend. Look what we got.
Let's see here. Oh, wow. Bristol Motor Speedway, the 60th anniversary. So I don't know. I don't see a flavor on here.
Because there is no flavor. The flavor is shine.
Okay.
That's the flavor.
All right.
It's the 60th anniversary bottle for Bristol Motor Speedway.
Holy crap. So this is like the clear stuff.
Yes. We may go blind here.
White Lightning.
So Nige pouring me a shot, pouring himself.
I don't watch NASCAR, but this is probably one I watch.
So let me raise up a toast here real quick. On this special day in our country, to loved ones, to first responders, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Whoa! White lightning! White lightning!
We better go to break.
Woo! Moonshine Monday! The Hammer and Nigel Show. We're coming right back.
All Hoosier families want the best for their kids, but parents of children with autism face special challenges, and they're counting on Governor Eric Holcomb. Thousands of Indiana children with autism are enrolled in applied behavior analysis therapy centers. ABA centers provide a safe learning environment where parents know their children will be understood and taught lifelong skills. But the Holcomb administration has proposed deep Medicaid cuts that could force ABA centers to close. Kate is the mother of a son with autism.
As a single mom, caring for a son with autism can feel very overwhelming. Luckily, I got my son into an ABA center near our home. Since then, he's learned so many life skills to help keep him safe and give him a brighter and more independent future. It would crush our family if we were to lose this option. Governor Holcomb, you're our only hope. Please stop these devastating Medicaid cuts.
Governor Holcomb, listen to Hoosier families and ensure children with autism in Indiana get the care they deserve. Paid for by Indiana Act for Families.
Hey, you're up next. My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight. Here, try these. Vicks VapoCool drops. Yeah, Vicks VapoCool drops has maximum